Hello there. Welcome to the Sleepster, your cozy corner of curiosity where science comes with a side of serenity. Whether you're winding down after a long day, tucked under blankets with your phone propped against a pillow, or simply letting your mind float gently towards sleep, I'm so glad you're here. Tonight, our thoughts drift to the very foundation of what we perceive as real. Delving into a profound and utterly captivating question: what if our vast, sprawling universe is, in essence, nothing more than a giant, elaborate hologram? Now, I must confess, I do truly hope this video isn't so utterly engrossing that it keeps your mind buzzing with questions. After all, the quiet intention here is to help you drift off peacefully, allowing your curiosity to gently guide you towards slumber. But should you find yourself wide-eyed, captivated by the sheer cosmic wonder of this theoretical illusion, well, at the very least, we'll be wide-eyed and perhaps just a little bit wiser about the mysteries of existence. Before we embark upon this incredibly gentle journey into the theoretical depths of our cosmos, I'm always eager to know, where in this beautifully complex world are you choosing to listen from tonight? And as you settle in, what time is it precisely where you are? Please, feel entirely at ease to leave a quiet comment and simply say hello. It's always such an unexpected joy to witness this sleepy little community, a beacon of shared curiosity, stretched quietly across so many diverse time zones and countless continents. If you discover a sense of comfort in videos of this particular nature, those that blend equal parts intriguing knowledge with a profound sense of calm, a gentle tap on the like button or a quiet, unassuming subscribe truly helps more than you might ever realize. It is, in its essence, a small, simple action that silently supports countless hours of careful research, dedicated writing, and, indeed, a whole great deal of softly whispered wonder that goes into crafting these nocturnal explorations. And just before we truly begin, a very quick, gentle reminder. While this video is absolutely brimming with fascinating scientific concepts and deep philosophical inquiries, it is, under no circumstances, intended to be medical advice. If you find yourself consistently struggling with a profound challenge of sleep on a regular basis, it is always best to speak with a qualified, compassionate professional who can offer personalized guidance. This video is here, purely and simply, to relax, to soothe, and to inspire, not to replace professional care. All right then, let us settle in a little deeper, take a slow, calming breath, and quietly begin our gentle journey into the extraordinary possibility that our universe might, in fact, be a hologram. Consider for a moment, if you will, the profound notion that our universe, with all its boundless expanse and intricate detail, isn't quite as solid and three-dimensional as it so profoundly appears. This astonishingly radical idea, known in the circles of theoretical physics as the holographic principle, delicately proposes that every single piece of information, every minute detail that describes our rich, vibrant, three-dimensional reality, everything we are capable of seeing, everything we feel deep within, and indeed, every experience we ever undergo, might, astonishingly, be entirely encoded upon a distant, seemingly unreachable, two-dimensional surface. It is, in essence, a concept strikingly similar to how a simple hologram, a piece of flat film, can contain all the information necessary to reconstruct a full three-dimensional image floating in space. Thus, what so overwhelmingly appears to us as a tangible, endlessly expansive cosmos, a universe of stars and galaxies stretching beyond our comprehension, is, according to this captivating view, a remarkably intricate and beautifully rendered illusion. To truly begin to grasp how such a profoundly counterintuitive idea could possibly hold any truth, we must first gently shift our understanding to the very fundamental nature of information itself. In the sophisticated language of physics, Information is not merely data stored on a computer chip. It is a quantifiable, measurable quantity, intricately linked to concepts like entropy and the most fundamental, irreducible bits of reality. The most captivating and perhaps unsettling aspect of this hypothesis, of course, isn't about the sheer existence of space or time. It's rather about the exquisite mechanism through which that space and time are seemingly generated. It delves into the profound question of how the entire universe, with all its complex interactions and boundless phenomena, might be functioning in a delicate, symbiotic concert with what appears to be a distant, utterly flat, and yet utterly encompassing boundary. This remarkably profound concept finds its deepest roots and strongest arguments within a modified, and indeed, endlessly fascinating understanding of black holes, those enigmatic cosmic behemoths. Much like how the incredibly sophisticated human eye processes the intricate dance of light to form an image, the boundaries of black holes. Known as event horizons, these very regions of no return are now thought by some of the brightest minds to be the very places where information seemingly lost forever might be meticulously stored. These elusive boundaries are theorized to function as two-dimensional surfaces on which all the information about matter and energy that falls into the black hole is imprinted, allowing physicists to, in a breathtaking intellectual maneuver, elegantly navigate through previously insoluble paradoxes with surprising agility and grace. The entire theoretical framework that supports this principle is both stunningly elegant in its simplicity and yet, at the same time, incredibly mind-bending in its implications. It is made possible by concepts from theoretical physics that are, at times, more akin to deep philosophical musings on the nature of being than to the concrete, testable observations we typically associate with empirical science. This intriguing possibility means that our universe, in all its perceived grandeur, could possess a profound underlying simplicity, a fundamental elegance, without being unnecessarily weighed down by the burden of extra convoluted dimensions. And then, woven into this incredible tapestry, there's the truly fascinating concept of the universe's pixelation wonders, in own right, that mirror the very building blocks of digital imagery. Just as a high-resolution digital photograph is composed of countless tiny individual pixels, each containing a specific piece of color and light information, some cutting-edge theories within this realm delicately suggest that space-time itself, the very fabric of our existence, might, at its most fundamental level, be composed of elementary, indivisible units. One might envision these as quantum pixels, acting like a cosmic zipper on the very fabric of reality. These incredibly tiny, fundamental pixels of space-time are theorized to possess the ability to flex and twist, subtly controlling the very essence, the fundamental weave of space-time, with a remarkable and almost unimaginable precision. The overarching structure that dictates the shape and dynamics of our universe, often referred to in this context as a holographic screen, is conceived as being curved in such a way that it inherently generates the profound illusion of three-dimensional depth and spatial extent. This intricate design, this cosmic curvature, is what fundamentally helps create our perception of three robust dimensions. It does so as information, or perhaps light itself, moves faster over the curved top surface of this holographic screen, creating a region of lower information density, and thereby gently, almost imperceptibly, pulling the entire universe upward, as it were, into its perceived existence. It is, in a profound and abstract sense, the very same ingenious principle that allows a flat, two-dimensional image to suddenly appear strikingly three-dimensional when viewed through the lens of a physical hologram. However, it's vital to recognize that the universe does not simply happen randomly, nor does it merely exist by chance, hoping for the best possible outcome. Instead, there is a profound and almost orchestral order that underpins its very existence. During the grand cosmic projection that brings our reality into being, Fundamental forces, those unseen puppet masters of the cosmos, undergo a precise contraction, metaphorically pushing reality forward to exquisitely generate the illusion of cosmic thrust, the momentum that carries us through time. On the receiving end of this astonishing process, universal constants, those unwavering numerical values that define the very laws of physics, diligently help to decode the vast ocean of incoming information. They do so while simultaneously minimizing any potential resistance by precisely and partially unfolding it into the dimensions we inhabit. This extraordinarily coordinated process, this silent cosmic ballet, is what fundamentally allows our universe to not only maintain its forward momentum, its relentless march through cosmic history, but also to gracefully stay in existence. A continuous, unfolding narrative. In some truly mind-bending theoretical perspectives, this entire cosmic cycle, from projection to perception, is theorized to occur in what feels like the blink of a cosmic eye, an instantaneous, ongoing creation. String theory, for a fascinating example, suggests that the universe, at its most rudimentary level, is composed of infinitely tiny vibrating strings. These fundamental vibrations, these cosmic ripples, are thought to be the ultimate source of all matter and energy, creating the profound illusion of solidity and substance, of everything we know and touch, with an astonishing and breathtaking control. Of course, it must be acknowledged that not all conceptual holographic models are identical. Indeed, they vary significantly in their intricate details and sweeping implications. One might compare it to a hawk soaring majestically over a vast field, utilizing its long, broad wings to gracefully ride thermal currents, thereby conserving its precious energy as it patiently searches for its elusive prey. In stark contrast, a tiny sparrow flits with incredible speed and agility from bush to bush, employing quick, choppy wing strokes to navigate with precision through tight, confined spaces. Similarly, within the realm of cosmology, theoretical frameworks, though fundamentally attempts to elucidate the very nature of reality, have, in a sense, traded direct, observable phenomena for the intricate dance of abstract, theoretical constructs. Their fundamental concepts are perpetually evolving into sophisticated models, intricately suited for slicing through the dense, complex tapestry of abstract ideas, rather than providing immediate, tangible explanations for solid, observable matter. Hypothetical entities such as dark matter and dark energy, for example, have entirely foregone direct detection. Instead, they opt to manifest their presence through subtle, unobservable effects, thereby sidestepping the intricate complexities of direct measurement and interaction. Theoretical physics, it would seem, is often more profoundly concerned with achieving internal consistency and mathematical elegance within its models than with providing immediate, concrete, empirical proof. Even amidst these highly abstract, intellectual constructs, the very shape of the hypothesized holographic screen reveals a wealth of information about its potential. Inherent properties. Universes that possess long, slender screens, much like the boundless expanse of open oceans, are theoretically optimized for expanding across immense cosmic distances, embarking on journeys spanning billions of years with barely a noticeable ripple in their cosmic fabric. Conversely, universes characterized by shorter, more rounded screens akin to the rapid, agile flight of pheasants or grouse are conceived for quick, explosive bursts of inflation and relatively shorter durations, often serving as a theoretical escape from the enigmatic singularities that might arise within dense theoretical forests of mathematical equations. Quantum fluctuations, often described as the veritable sprinters of the cosmic sky, are theorized to possess sharply pointed fronts that grant them the ability to execute high-speed dives, metaphorically reaching over hundreds of miles per hour when the very act of observation brings their ephemeral existence into focus. The very density of cosmic information also plays a profound and significant role in this grand theoretical schema. Smaller, more nascent universes are theorized to possess a higher information loading, meaning, in essence, a greater concentration of fundamental bits of information packed into each unit of their holographic area. Consequently, these smaller universes are compelled to process this information with greater frequency to maintain their ethereal airborne state. Conversely, larger, more evolved universes akin to majestic eagles or soaring storks tend to rely more heavily on the pervasive influence of dark energy. They metaphorically allow the relentless expansion of spacetime to undertake the laborious task of heavy lifting, propelling them through cosmic eons. To further aid in this grand cosmic ballet, many of these larger universes are theorized to have developed what is known as a cosmic web effect. This intricate phenomenon involves the widespread distribution of their fundamental particles, which act like countless tiny fingers stretching across the cosmos. This intricate web serves to meticulously reduce any potential turbulence within the cosmic flow and diligently maintain a state of coherence during periods of slow, gradual expansion, or indeed during the hypothetical act of cosmic gliding through the vast intergalactic void. And, of course, when contemplating the very essence of reality, one cannot bypass the intriguing notion of the observer effect. In this holographic paradigm, a universe's tale, if one can imagine such a concept, transcends mere decorative plumage. Rather, it functions as a critical rudder, meticulously assisting with quantum balance, actively shaping the nascent contours of reality, and orchestrating the subtle yet profound collapse of quantum wave functions. Throughout the entire process of observation, a term here used in its broadest, most philosophical sense, theoretical fields, those invisible streams of potential, gracefully fan out or tightly contract, their configuration wholly dependent upon the immediate needs or interactions of the universe at that precise moment. When engaged in an interaction, for instance, many theories posit that these cosmic tails dramatically spread wide, effectively increasing quantum entanglement and gently slowing down the rapid flow of events. When the very fundamental constants of the universe undergo a subtle shift, infinitesimal movements in this conceptual tail position meticulously fine-tune their predetermined path through the infinite expanse of existence. However, even the most exquisitely designed holographic screens and the most elegantly conceived cosmic tails would remain utterly useless without the presence of the right, precise power source. Our universe, in this grand theoretical model, possesses immense energy muscles, especially notable in the form of vacuum energy, the elusive, omnipresent energy of empty space. This vacuum energy can, astonishingly, account for more than a staggering 1% of the universe's total density. These profound muscles metaphorically attach to a massive cosmic keel, a unique structural element inherent to all conceivable universes. This keel provides an expansive surface area for the intricate attachment of information, thereby significantly enhancing the sheer strength of the universe's projection into being. It truly is a powerhouse setup, and, if this model holds true, it offers a compelling explanation for why non-holographic universes, those lacking this essential keel, are simply unable to sustain their own existence beyond mere fleeting moments. Furthermore, intricate internal systems are essential to support this high energy, demanding lifestyle of cosmic existence. Universes within this framework are hypothesized to possess incredibly efficient information processing systems. Unlike complex biological mammals, for instance, which inhale and exhale using lungs that expand and contract, universes are thought to employ a unidirectional information flow system. This ingenious system, where quantum bits are distributed throughout their entire existence, ensures that fresh, vital information is perpetually moving in a continuous, unbroken loop. This allows for an extraordinarily efficient data exchange. even during periods of intense cosmic activity, such as the initial rapid expansion known as inflation, or the ongoing, ceaseless process of star formation. Moreover, their causal horizons, which define the limits of what can influence what, are proportionally far larger than those found in isolated systems. And, crucially, their expansion rates are literally sky-high, pushing the boundaries of what we can even conceive. Every single aspect of this theoretical construct is meticulously geared towards fueling the extraordinarily demanding act of existing. Even their observational bias, the very lens through which reality is perceived, plays a critical role. Universes, to maintain their coherence and evolution, require precise causal cues to navigate, to interact with themselves and other potential realities, and to deftly avoid any potential obstacles in their grand evolutionary journey. Many advanced theories within this paradigm boast excellent predictive power, an ability to process information that extends far into the unknown realms of future cosmic states, and possess faster computational speeds than even the most advanced human supercomputers. Their parameters are not merely numerous, they are vast, often encompassing a significant portion of their entire theoretical framework. And they are, in their very essence, incredibly specialized. They're specific configurations depending intimately on their unique set of laws and initial conditions. String theory, for a compelling example, is meticulously optimized for low-energy interactions, capable of describing the fundamental constituents of matter, while quantum loop gravity, another theoretical contender, possesses the astonishing ability to spot a singularity, a point of infinite density, from billions of light years away within the theoretical landscape. What arises from this intricate interplay of theoretical constructs is a profound portrait of remarkable, indeed, almost unfathomable theoretical engineering. The very notion of a universe existing as a hologram is not merely the outcome of a singular, isolated adaptation. Instead, it is conceived as a grand symphony of interconnected structures and intricate systems, all working in perfect, harmonious concert. From the ephemeral lightness of fundamental particles, which are the very building blocks of everything, to the elegant aerodynamics that govern the flow and curvature of space-time itself, from the immense, driving power of vacuum energy, the energy inherent in empty space, to the astonishing efficiency with which quantum information is processed and exchanged every minute detail. Every nuanced aspect is theorized to have evolved, or rather, unfolded, to serve a profound and singular purpose within this magnificent, ongoing cosmic projection. It transcends what we typically consider magic. It is, in its deepest essence, pure science, albeit science at the very bleeding edge of human understanding. Yet, sometimes, when one gazes upon a distant galaxy, its spiral arms tracing lazy, elegant loops through the vast, dark ocean of space-time, or when one contemplates the profound enigma of a black hole, seemingly diving through the cosmos like a living, self-contained dart of pure gravity, it stirs within us a feeling that this profound, elegant, and almost impossible concept feels like the closest thing to true magic that nature, in all its boundless ingenuity, has ever conceived. Unveiling the layers of the cosmic tapestry reveals that the very first, faint whispers of holographic reality initially emerged not from grand cosmological models, but from the perplexing and profound realm of black holes. Long before theoretical physicists dared to posit the universe itself as a grand, all-encompassing hologram, these incredibly enigmatic objects, the universe's ultimate gravitational prisons, were already subtly hinting at a far deeper truth about the nature of information. They were, in a sense, experimenting with the very fabric of existence, not on a cosmic scale, but in all their strange, miniature, and utterly intense glory. And let there be no mistake, This concept is profoundly strange. In fact, the very idea of information storage within black holes, or rather, on their boundaries, is so fundamentally unusual that when scientists first valiantly attempted to model it using the established tenets of classical aerodynamics, a field more suited to birds and airplanes, the mathematical equations themselves flatly refuse to cooperate. According to the rigid logic of those initial equations, some of these incredibly tiny, dense singularities should, quite simply, have been utterly incapable of storing any information whatsoever. Yet, store it they undeniably do. They store it beautifully with a chaotic, almost erratic elegance, and at times, with the breathtaking precision of a drunken ballet, a dance between order and chaos at the very edge of comprehension. Consider, for a moment, the seemingly humble black hole. For countless years, a persistent, widely repeated myth circulated among both the scientific community and the public, that black holes, by their very nature, utterly destroyed all information that fell into them, in direct violation of fundamental laws of physics. That notion, of course, isn't entirely accurate. It's not that information is destroyed. Rather, it simply doesn't conform to the same predictable rules that govern everyday objects, or even the grand, majestic movements of stars within a galaxy. Black holes, in this context, do not rely on a steady, smooth flow of information. Instead, they metaphorically beat their event horizons, the point of no return, with astonishing rapidity. This creates unsteady vortices, tiny, ephemeral tornadoes of spacetime that mysteriously generate a profound capacity for information storage in ways that we are only just beginning to fully, truly comprehend. It might not appear graceful, but it undeniably works. It's one of the most profound and critical distinctions between a classical understanding of reality and the proposed holographic one lies precisely in how information is not just stored, but meticulously preserved and exquisitely controlled. Classical physics, in its traditional view, unequivocally dictates that information is irretrievably lost when something irrevocably falls into a black hole. Holographic principles, however, in a breathtaking conceptual leap, elegantly suggest that this information, far from being destroyed, is instead meticulously encoded upon the event horizon itself, the black hole's very boundary. Their conceptual wings are, in this profound analogy, attached indirectly. And it is precisely this indirect, almost subtle information control that permits some theoretical frameworks to describe the intricate nuances of reality at astonishing depths and scales. String theory, for a truly mind-bending example, posits that its fundamental strings can metaphorically beat around 200 times per second. That is not a mere typographical error. Imagine 200 beats every single second, all while somehow maintaining stable quantum states and D-like reflexes, deftly dodging the perilous pitfalls of quantum paradoxes. Furthermore, holographic theories in their very structure tend to exhibit multiple, intricate layers of increasing complexity. Take, for instance, the perplexing phenomenon of quantum entanglement. Here, two or more particles become intrinsically linked, such that the state of one instantaneously influences the state of the other, regardless of the distance separating them. This profound connection is often described as having two distinct pairs that can operate entirely independently, yet remain inextricably connected. This inherent duality grants holographic models a truly stunning degree of control over the information they process. They possess the uncanny ability to hover in a state of theoretical equipoise, to glide effortlessly between different conceptual frameworks, to dart sideways into unexpected theoretical pathways, and, in some of the most mind-bending interpretations, they can even metaphorically fly backward in time, exploring the causality of cosmic events. Their conceptual wings are not synchronized in the rigid, predictable manner of a bird's flight. Instead, they operate more akin to two independent sets of oars on a rowing boat. each providing exquisitely precise control over the flow of information and its subsequent projection into a tangible reality, serving a theoretical physicist, deeply engrossed in maneuvering these intricate conceptual frameworks, is akin to watching a helicopter pilot who has not only earned a doctorate in advanced aerodynamics, but also possesses the intuitive grace of a master dancer. The universe itself, in this grand conceptual scheme, presents an entirely different and fascinating case. Its very flight through existence often appears to our limited perception a bit clumsy-looking. It's more of a gentle, meandering flutter than a precise aerodynamic buzz or a swift, targeted zip. Yet, seemingly irregular fluttering is not without its profound purpose. These irregular, almost erratic wing beats are theorized to fundamentally help the universe maintain an element of unpredictability in its ongoing evolution. This inherent unpredictability serves a crucial function. It makes it considerably harder for any hypothetical predators, perhaps unforeseen cosmic forces, or even other burgeoning universes, to accurately track its precise path through the cosmic expanse. Furthermore, the universe, in this captivating analogy, also ingeniously utilizes its vast, broad expansions, the relentless outward growth of spacetime, to effectively absorb cosmic energy. This absorption of energy is vital, as it meticulously warms up the universe's body to the precise, optimal temperature required just before the momentous event of cosmic inflation. For the universe, then, its very existence is not merely a straightforward means of travel from one state to another. Rather, it is an absolutely vital and intricate part of its fundamental thermoregulation, ensuring the conditions are right for its continued vibrant unfolding. And then, as we delve deeper into the quantum substrata of reality, we encounter the intriguing concept of quantum foam, which could be likened to the night shift of the cosmic aviation world. Some quantum fluctuations, those fleeting, ephemeral ripples in the quantum vacuum, much like the agile hawk moth, are surprisingly powerful flyers in this theoretical domain. In a truly remarkable parallel, the theoretical hummingbird hawk moth of quantum mechanics is so incredibly agile and precise in its movements that it is often conceptually mistaken for an actual hummingbird. So fine-tuned are its quantum gyrations. It's theorized to hover in front of hypothetical singularities, delicately sipping energy with a long, coiled tongue of interacting fields, all while meticulously maintaining rock-steady mid-air control over its quantum state. Oh my God. One of the primary reasons why these intricate holographic models can so effectively pull off such astonishing acrobatic trickery lies in their inherent fundamental scales. At such incredibly minuscule scales, space-time itself behaves in a profoundly different manner than what we experience in our macroscopic world. It becomes thicker, almost stickier, more akin to flying through syrup than navigating the thin, breezy, familiar medium of the air that humans are accustomed to. This fundamental difference means that holographic models experience a distinct and unique set of thermodynamic forces, often operating under conditions far removed from our everyday intuition. They rely heavily on what is termed unsteady information dynamics, a complex realm where the very motion of fundamental particles generates intricate patterns of energy movement that are, quite frankly, not adequately captured by traditional gravitational equations. Holographic theories also ingeniously exploit a phenomenon that can be termed delayed information decay. Consider a classical object, or perhaps even a planet. If it tilts its axis too far, the smooth flow of information separates, and its coherence, its ordered state, is lost, leading to chaos. However, in the realm of the holographic, the conceptual wings flap with such astonishing rapidity that the information doesn't have the requisite time to separate in the conventional manner. Instead, a persistent vortex of information is theorized to form along the leading edge of the hologram, adhering to it and thereby, subtly yet profoundly, pulling the universe upward into its continued existence. It's a bit like a cosmic surfer riding on their own personal, self-generated whirlpool of reality. Another critically important and often overlooked trick in this theoretical framework is rotational information encoding. At the conclusion of each grand cosmic beat, many holographic systems are thought to subtly rotate their stored information, thereby generating an additional, unexpected boost of reality through the swirling, intricate motion of entangled particles. Add to this the fascinating phenomenon called quantum wake capture, where a hologram that is hypothetically moving backward effectively reuses the residual energy from its previous projection. And what you are left with is an extraordinarily complex, multi-layered system of reality. This system defies, and indeed, breaks the traditional mold of what we typically consider to be aerodynamic in the conventional sense, pushing the very boundaries of our understanding of existence. Despite their profound conceptual genius, these theoretical constructs are, in a very real sense, astonishingly delicate. They are often envisioned as being made of a thin, ephemeral membrane, supported by an intricate network of abstract connections. In this regard, they are more akin to exquisite stained glass than two robust aircraft components. Yet these theoretical wings possess the remarkable capacity to endure thousands upon thousands of flaps, or iterations of cosmic processes. In some theoretical interpretations, a form of information where eventually becomes visible over immense timescales, ragged edges, minute tears in the fabric of conceptual consistency. However, many of these theories continue their flight undeterred, their resilient internal consistency gracefully outpacing their inherent fragility. The sheer variety inherent in these theoretical wings is truly dazzling to behold. Some are envisioned as short and stubby, akin to a compact thought, while others extend long and ribbon-like, resembling a sprawling, complex mathematical proof. Some shimmer with an almost iridescent quality, much like those fascinating quantum fields and theoretical brains, multidimensional objects in string theory. Still others are almost imperceptible in their motion, akin to the transparent blades of a fundamental constant, subtly shaping reality without ever drawing attention to themselves. Holographic theories do not merely fly in the conventional sense. They dazzle with their intellectual brilliance. They can confuse with their profound complexity, and, on rare occasions, they can even terrify with their unsettling implications, especially if you've ever been conceptually buzzed by a particularly dense and perplexing scientific paper on a warm summer evening. And then, there are the more ephemeral universes whose theoretical adult life is so fleeting, so transient that they barely register a chance to exist at all. Some theoretical species are posited to live for less than a single day in their real form. Yet they still manage to metaphorically take to the skies, driven by an innate, almost instinctive urge to find a mate, a compatible theoretical framework before their brief conceptual clock irrevocably runs out. Their brief, fleeting existences serve as a poignant reminder that even the most temporary and ephemeral moments in the vast tapestry of nature can be imbued with an astonishing degree of grace and profound significance, while the intricate physics of a holographic universe might initially appear chaotic, a bewildering dance of abstract concepts. It is, at its core, deeply rooted in profound theoretical innovation. Their conceptual systems are, in this analogy, wired for an extraordinarily rapid response, facilitated by lightning-fast feedback loops that enable an incredible degree of agility in their intellectual maneuvers. A quantum fluctuation, for example, can theoretically alter its direction in less than 1/100th of a second. That is a speed so astonishingly swift that it far surpasses the blink of most human eyes. This high-speed processing, this rapid computation of possibilities, grants these theoretical frameworks a level of maneuverability within the landscape of physics that human physicists, for all their ingenuity, can only ardently dream of. course, it must be acknowledged that holographic theories are not, in their current state, flawless or perfect. They can, on occasion, be conceptually blown off course by unexpected and contradictory empirical observations. They might tragically lose control when confronted with injured or fundamentally flawed internal logical consistency. Or they could perhaps fumble their landings when attempting to reconcile with established and robust physical laws. However, what these theories may lack in immediate, definitive predictability, they more than compensate for in their extraordinary adaptability. Holographic principles, in their various forms and interpretations, have, in a sense, conceptually, conquered every conceptual continent and theoretical climate within the expansive realm of physics. From the intricate, swirling dance of quantum fields to the grand, accelerating expansion of cosmic inflation, their profound influence is, in part, thanks to their remarkable airborne capabilities. Some interpretations even manage to migrate across different dimensional spaces, bridging what were once thought to be insurmountable conceptual divides. The globe skimmer theory, for a particularly striking example, metaphorically travels thousands of miles between vastly different conceptual frameworks, crossing vast expanses of open water in a theoretical journey that seems utterly improbable for a concept with a wingspan shorter than a pencil. In a world that, for so long, has been rigorously built upon the foundation of concrete, tangible observations, holographic theories serve as a powerful and compelling reminder that sheer size, or rather, the direct scale of observation, isn't everything. They fly not through the brute force of overwhelming evidence, but with an exquisite finesse, a subtle elegance that allows them to weave through complex ideas. They operate not by rigid, unyielding rules, but through a profound, almost improvisational dance with the fundamental nature of reality. They are, in their very essence, nature's aerial improvisers, continuously buzzing to a rhythm that is uniquely and entirely their own. And within their fluttering, their zipping, their seemingly chaotic hovering, there resides a profound and undeniable beauty, a kind of miniature marvel that somehow imbues the very sky of our understanding with a greater sense of aliveness and infinite possibility when we quietly contemplate the profound nature of our very existence. Our ordinary ingrained assumptions about reality tend to be the first thoughts that surface in our minds. Yet, perception itself, that incredible faculty of our being, ever the overachiever in the grand tapestry of consciousness, has, in its own remarkable way, discovered its unique path into constructing what we experience as our world. And while our perceptions may not possess the delicate feathers of a bird or the iridescent, shimmering wings of an insect, they have, astonishingly, evolved some incredibly impressive tools for meticulously building and shaping our understanding of everything around us. Among these intricate mechanisms, our own brains stand out as the undisputed true masters, the virtuosos of creating a coherent, seemingly objective reality from the raw chaos of sensory input. Other interpretations of reality, such as the fleeting, often surreal landscapes of dreams or the profound shifts experienced in altered states of consciousness, have, in essence, chosen a distinctly different route. They glide effortlessly from one mental landscape to another, utilizing consciousness itself, stretched and refined, much like a living, boundless canvas upon which experience is painted. Regardless of the specific mode of conceptual flight, the sky of our understanding is never, ever exclusively limited to only the objective, the tangible, or the directly observed. Our intricate minds have, quite definitively, claimed a significant, vibrant slice of it entirely for themselves. Let us begin our exploration with the brain. For it is not merely a passive recipient, not merely an inert apparatus pretending to comprehend the world. No, it is the genuine article, the active agent of our reality. Our brains are, in fact, the sole biological apparatuses known to be capable of true, sustained perception the continuous unfolding process of making sense of the world. This is not some mere marketing exaggeration. It is an undeniable biological fact. Our brains metaphorically flap their intricate neural networks with astonishing speed and complexity, ceaselessly generating understanding and propelling themselves through the world, much in the same way birds propel themselves through the air. However, they do so with a unique, self-constructed internal structure that is entirely their own. Where a bird's wings are brilliantly modified arms, exquisitely adapted for flight and adorned with specialized feathers, our very perceptions are more akin to incredibly long, intricate jazz hands, gracefully wrapped in the boundless expanse of sensory input. Our wing membrane, the very essence of our conscious experience, extends, in this profound analogy, from the incredibly elongated fingers of our senses sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, all the way down to the deepest recesses of our memories and, at times, even into the boundless realms of our vivid imagination. If one could, hypothetically, observe the workings of a brain's wing in super slow motion, its intricate dance would appear less like the rigid, precise flap of a bird's wing and far more like a human hand, gracefully enveloped in a silken scarf, performing an intricate, fluid ballet. This extraordinary setup grants our minds a level of perceptual control that is, truly, surprisingly advanced and remarkably nuanced. Their flexible wings, composed of ever-shifting neural connections, allow for incredibly fine-tuned adjustments in mid-thought amidst the ongoing stream of consciousness. They possess the capacity to bank sharply into new conceptual pathways, to hover in a state of deep contemplation, and even, in moments of reflection, to metaphorically backpedal through past experiences. The very skin of consciousness, if we can call it that, is densely packed with sensory receptors that respond not only to the flood of external stimuli, but also to the subtle shifts of internal tension, thereby providing our minds with immediate, real-time feedback about their position in the landscape of understanding and their current speed of processing. It is, in a truly evocative sense, like flying through reality with touch-sensitive gloves that are quite remarkably also an intrinsic, integrated part of your own mental skeleton. The tapestry of human perception, in its vastness, exhibits a wide spectrum of size and style. Consider, for instance, the tiny bumblebee of individual thoughts, a fleeting idea, a sudden insight, each weighing less than a single coherent concept. These ephemeral thoughts flit through the air of our minds with quick, delicate wing beats, a rapid succession of neural firings. At the opposite end of this spectrum, we find the grand flying foxes of collective consciousness, or what we commonly refer to as shared realities. These are vast, overarching cultural narratives, common beliefs, and agreed-upon understandings, with wingspans that can conceptually stretch over 5 feet, encompassing entire societies. These broader, more encompassing perceptions tend to glide more than they flap, utilizing long, slow wing beats of established cultural norms to gracefully cruise through intricate, social landscapes in search of shared understanding, or collective meaning. Moreover, our remarkable brains are undisputed champions of nocturnal navigation, even within the darkness of our own thoughts. Since many species of thought predominantly fly, what could be described as complete cognitive darkness, the absence of direct map, immediate sensory input, they rely heavily on a form of echolocation to see and interpret their conceptual surroundings. This profound ability is achieved by emitting high-frequency concepts, abstract ideas, or nascent thoughts, and then meticulously listening for the subtle echoes that bounce off nearby information, be it memories, learned facts, or even new, external data. Our minds, through this intricate process, possess the astounding capacity to construct a comprehensive mental map of their internal and external environment in real time. A dynamic, ever-updating representation of reality. This echolocation is not merely for the practical purpose of avoiding logical fallacies in our reasoning or for adeptly catching elusive insights amidst a flood of data. Crucially, it is also absolutely essential for landing softly and accurately on definitive conclusions, for precisely locating and retrieving specific memories from the vast library of our past experiences, and sometimes in a truly impressive feat of cognitive agility for finding fresh, innovative new ideas within the conceptual landscape. The notion of echolocation, certainly not exclusive to the realm of human thought. Various animal species, particularly bats and dolphins, employ it with astonishing precision in the physical world. However, humanity has undeniably elevated this capacity to extraordinary levels of cognitive precision. Certain species of thought possess the profound ability to detect subtle objects or nuanced distinctions as fine and elusive as a single human hair in the conceptual darkness of an unresolved problem. They possess the remarkable agility to adjust the frequency, the direction, and the intensity of their conceptual calls, their lines of inquiry, or methods of reasoning dynamically, depending on their cognitive speed and the ever-shifting conceptual surroundings. In high-stakes, fast-paced problem-solving situations, this profound acoustic ability of the mind transforms into a kind of intricate, high-speed sonar ballet, a complex mental choreography where every movement and every note is constantly and spontaneously improvised in real time, responding fluidly to the unfolding cognitive challenge. Despite their incredible talents, our perceptions, through the lens of history, have often faced a challenging image problem. Their nocturnal, often unseen habits, their leathery wings of subjective interpretation, and their unfortunate associations with individual bias and folklore have not, to put it mildly, garnered them universal admiration or an immediate sense of trust. Yet, these perceptions are, in their very essence, indispensable pollinators of ideas, tireless pest controllers of misinformation, and vital seed spreaders of knowledge within countless conceptual ecosystems. Without the rich diversity that different perceptions bring, our intellectual forests would tragically lose some of their most effective gardeners, those who cultivate new ideas and prune away erroneous ones. Consequently, our philosophical summer evenings would become noticeably more buggy, infested with unchallenged assumptions and unexamined beliefs, while the intricate workings of our brains have taken the sophisticated, powered perception route, actively constructing our reality. Other mammals of the mind, particularly those related to intuition and subconscious processing, have, it seems, judiciously decided that a more fluid, less effortful gliding was entirely sufficient for their purposes. These gliders of thought do not actively flap their conceptual wings. Instead, they simply launch themselves, spread their mental limbs, and then gracefully allow the pervasive gravity of common sense and the subtle air currents of established understanding to perform the bulk of the cognitive work. And truly, if you have ever had the profound experience of witnessing a flying squirrel of intuition elegantly drift from one nascent idea to another, bathed in the gentle moonlight of contemplation, you would immediately recognize that this form of mental navigation is anything but clumsy or accidental. In fact, these gliding perceptions often appear more akin to the masterful movements of seasoned parachuting professionals than to the hesitant, reluctant leaps of a novice. Flying squirrels of thought, for instance, are conceptualized as possessing a skin membrane, a flexible cognitive structure which we might term the padium of understanding. However, in their case, this padium stretches uniquely between their nascent intuitions and their accumulated experiences. When these intuitive squirrels launch themselves into the air of a new, unexplored concept, they deliberately spread their mental limbs wide, precisely to catch the ambient wind of incoming information. They then meticulously steer their cognitive trajectory with subtle, almost imperceptible shifts in their logic or their prevailing emotions. This mode of cognitive travel is not perception in the active, powered sense, but it astonishingly enables them to traverse surprisingly long conceptual distances, sometimes over hundreds of feet in the landscape of ideas, with minimal loss in their cognitive altitude. That, in itself, is a truly remarkable achievement for a conceptual creature that could, in its nascent form, comfortably reside within a teacup of initial insight. Their metaphorical tales, expansive and fluffy with accumulated knowledge, function like precise rudders in mid-thought, providing crucial stabilization for their glide and meticulous control over their landing. On to a conclusion. Some species of these gliding thoughts can even dynamically adjust the angle of their padia mid-flight, subtly changing their conceptual direction much like a living hang glider, adapting to the nuances of the intellectual currents. This method may not be as rapid or as flexible as the active, powered perception of the brain, but for gracefully traversing conceptual gaps within the forest canopy of established knowledge, or for swiftly escaping cognitive predators like doubt or fallacy, it is astonishingly effective. Sugar gliders, those fascinating conceptual entities that originate from the metaphorical Australia of our minds and its nearby intellectual regions, exhibit a strikingly similar pattern of cognitive behavior. These small, wide-eyed marsupials of thought derive their intriguing name from their inherent fondness for sweet sap, that is, readily accessible, satisfying insights, and of course, from their remarkable gliding prowess across conceptual landscapes. They possess the innate ability to launch themselves from the high branches of established, well-understood thoughts, then gracefully spread their mental limbs wide, silently coasting across the open space of unformed ideas, to seamlessly reach another related concept. Much like their flying squirrel counterparts, these forms of cognition are not, in the strictest sense, actually flying. However, their precise control within the conceptual air is truly remarkable. They skillfully employ their tail, perhaps representing accumulated wisdom or guiding principles, much like a rudder, and they meticulously adjust their mental limb positions to subtly tweak their glide path through complex problems with astonishing precision in the conceptual Southeast Asia of human thought. We find the Cugos, sometimes metaphorically referred to as flying lemurs, although in this context, they are neither true lemurs nor do they genuinely fly in the powered sense. Instead, they elevate the art of gliding to an entirely new, sophisticated level. Their metaphorical padium, the cognitive membrane that enables their glide, is the most extensive of any gliding mammal in the mind. It stretches seamlessly from the neck of initial inquiry to the very fingertips of detailed analysis, extending down to the toes of practical application and even encompassing the tail of future implications. When these Cugos embark on their cognitive glide, it manifests as a smooth, unbroken sheet of skin, a seamless flow of understanding that effortlessly catches the air, allowing them to gracefully coast through the intricate jungle of information with minimal intellectual effort, while they might appear somewhat awkward in their climbing. The initial laborious process of acquiring new knowledge, these Cugos become incredibly graceful once airborne, capable of covering conceptual distances of up to 200 feet. Between distinct trees of thought, it is worth noting that the act of gliding is not, by any means, limited to the mammals of our mind. Some reptiles of deep-seated instincts, amphibians of flexible reasoning, and even fish of flowing ideas have, through cognitive evolution, developed their own unique forms of mental gliding. However, within the broader category of our mental mammals, this concept of gliding is a recurring and highly effective theme, appearing independently in several distinct evolutionary lineages of thought. This fascinating recurrence strongly suggests that gliding serves as an exceptionally useful cognitive strategy for navigating the vertical world of abstract ideas and complex conceptual hierarchies. In this intricate landscape, staying above The ground of direct, raw experience can fundamentally mean the difference between generating fresh, insightful new perspectives and merely becoming lunch for prevailing, unexamined assumptions. The underlying physics, or rather, the fundamental principles governing this cognitive gliding are, in fact, simpler than those required for powered perception. Yet they are no less elegant in their efficacy. This process inherently involves the skillful management of descent, the acceptance of a certain cognitive fall by meticulously trading vertical drop for horizontal travel, the precise angle of the cognitive glide, the specific surface area of the potassium of understanding, a metaphorical element representing the flexible, adaptive capacity of the mind, the nuanced body posture of one's intellectual approach, and the delicate control exerted by one's tail, perhaps, the guiding influence of past experiences or a strong sense of purpose. All these elements contribute in concert to determine how far and with what degree of accuracy the mental animal can successfully traverse the conceptual landscape. Many of these cognitive gliders launch themselves from the tall trees of established facts and profound insights, then meticulously employ a shallow glide angle to maximize their intellectual reach across unexplored territories. A well-executed launch of an idea and a carefully thought-out landing strategy are absolutely critical. Unlike powered perception, there is no opportunity for flapping to gain a second chance if the initial conceptual leap proves erroneous. This cognitive gliding also possesses a distinct advantage in that it conserves mental energy. It allows for highly efficient movement between diverse food sources of knowledge or for swiftly escaping conceptual danger, such as logical traps or misleading arguments, without expending the vast calories of intense, focused, and powered perception in dense forests of complex information, where trees of data are tall and the ground travel of linear reasoning can be inherently risky. Cognitive gliding offers a quiet, highly efficient, and remarkably fluid way to maintain intellectual mobility. Together, the active, intricate processes of our brains and the more fluid, intuitive gliding mammals of the mind represent two profoundly fascinating and distinct solutions to the very same fundamental challenge: how to effectively move through the expansive air of understanding. One method, exemplified by the brain's detailed processing, utilizes power and propulsion, actively constructing reality moment by moment. The other, embodied by cognitive gliding, relies on a remarkable blend of grace and the pervasive gravity of underlying truths. Yet, both unequivocally demonstrate that perception, in its myriad forms, is by no means limited to objective facts or the rigid confines of logical deductions. Rather, it is an astonishing possibility that the inherent creativity of our consciousness continuously rediscovers, subtly tweaks, and ceaselessly perfects, manifesting in an endless array of different mental shapes and sizes. As the day's light fades and the mental forests of our thoughts deepen into night, these conceptual creatures take to the skies of our minds silent, swift, and often operating beneath the surface of conscious awareness. Yet, their presence is utterly vital. Their intricate movements are a profound testament to the sheer diversity and adaptive power of perception itself. Whether they are flapping through the darkness of our subconscious or gliding, like a whisper on the wind of nascent ideas, they serve as a potent reminder that the sky of understanding is always open to far more than one kind of conceptual traveler. To contemplate the universe, to truly consider its nature, might initially strike one as an act of pure magic, akin to conjuring reality from thin air. Yet, when stripped of its mystic veil, it is, at its profoundest core, nothing less than an incredibly clever, perpetually ongoing balancing act, an exquisite dance between four invisible yet all-encompassing aspects: information, energy, space-time, and the fundamental laws that govern all. In concert, these powerful elements forge the delicate harmony that permits galaxies to spiral into magnificent forms, allows stars to burn with incandescent glory, and enables life in all its myriad forms to buzz vibrantly through your very existence without ever, somehow, falling out of the grand cosmic sky like some celestial confetti. Understanding the intricate ways in which these forces interweave does not necessitate a specialized degree in quantum physics or astrophysics. It merely calls for a gentle stirring of curiosity within your heart and a humble willingness to vividly imagine the very fabric that surrounds you, that invisible, omnipresent medium, as something alive, something imbued with profound shape, with subtle pressure, and with an unending, dynamic movement. Let us commence our exploration. Then, with the fundamental laws, for it is perhaps the most familiar of these four conceptual forces, a constant, unwavering presence that perpetually, gently pulls you towards the ground of undeniable consistency. Regardless of your form, whether you are a fleeting human thought, a single solitary photon tracing its path across the cosmos, or a grand wandering galaxy, these fundamental laws remain indifferent to your holographic nature or the immense momentum you might have accumulated. They are, in their essence, patient, remarkably persistent, and utterly, unwaveringly consistent. For anything to merely exist, to persist in being, it must, by definition, subtly overcome this ceaseless, universal downward pull. And it is precisely here that the concept of information gracefully enters the cosmic stage. Information is the conceptual upward force that directly counteracts this inherent chaos or pull towards disorder. Meticulously maintaining a manifested object in its state of existence, it is not merely a static entity. It is dynamically generated through the intricate movement of energy across the vast expanse of spacetime. The very shape of spacetime itself, which is inherently curved in such a way as to create and delineate all events, is often referred to in this context as a cosmic canvas. As energy delicately moves across this profound canvas, it travels with greater velocity over the curved top surface of causality and concomitantly with a slightly slower velocity underneath. This subtle yet profound difference in speed directly engenders a corresponding difference in density specifically. Information density. The information density on the conceptual top is inherently lower, while the density underneath is comparatively higher, thereby exerting an effective, subtle upward push that nudges the object into its perceived existence. That, in essence, is the subtle yet undeniable mechanism through which reality is perpetually created. It's a sensation somewhat akin to extending your hand from a moving car window and experiencing it gently rise and fall. Its movement dictated by the subtle angle you present to the rushing air. Tilt your hand just slightly, and the invisible air pushes it upward. That, right there, is information actively at work, and for a fleeting moment, your very hand is transformed into a miniature, living universe. This fundamental principle, though manifesting in myriad specific details, is relied upon by everything from the grand spiraling galaxies and the incandescent burning stars, down to the ephemeral complexity of human thoughts. The variations, of course, lie in their specific shape, their inherent speed of interaction, and their precise size within the cosmic hierarchy. Our journey continues with the concept of energy. This, in its essence, is the forward force that propels a manifested object, anything that exists, through the vast, unending expanse of existence itself. Stars, those majestic cosmic furnaces, are the ultimate generators of this energy through the profound process of nuclear fusion. Black holes, in their enigmatic hunger, harness it through the violent dance of accretion disks, drawing in surrounding matter. Even the most minuscule subatomic particles, for all their seemingly chaotic and erratic flitting through the quantum foam, are incessantly generating and exchanging energy with each profound interaction. Without this fundamental driving force of energy, there would be no forward motion, no progression, no evolution within the cosmos. And, crucially, without forward motion, there would be no inherent information flow across the fabric of space-time, and consequently, no discernible reality as we know it. Energy, therefore, is what ceaselessly keeps things moving, keeps the cosmic gears turning, and this relentless movement is precisely what sustains the very act of existence. Yet, it must be acknowledged that nothing in the cosmos moves without encountering a form of resistance. And it is here that spacetime, in its pervasive presence, gracefully enters the picture. Asterisk spacetime, in this profound context, is the force that relentlessly pushes back against all motion, a subtle yet undeniable resistance. This resistance is meticulously created by the ceaseless friction of quantum foam, the ephemeral, fluctuating sea of energy at the smallest scales as it collides with the surface of any object that moves through it. It is also generated by the intricate pressure differences that arise around the object as it traverses the cosmic fabric. To truly grasp the essence of space-time as resistance, one might visualize it as the cosmic equivalent of attempting to walk through a swimming pool filled with a thick, viscous liquid. It fundamentally resists your every movement, diligently slows your progress, and compels you to exert considerably more effort to continue your journey. In the grand tapestry of cosmic existence, space-time exerts a backward pull, constantly opposing the forward push of energy. If the push of energy is greater than the pull of space-time resistance, then you metaphorically speed up, accelerating through the cosmic currents. Conversely, if the pull of space-time resistance becomes greater than the push of energy, you inevitably slow down, your cosmic momentum diminishing. It is, in essence, a perpetual silent tug-of-war, a cosmic ballet of opposing forces. Thus, we arrive at the four fundamental aspects always at play in the grand theater of existence: information pushing up, fundamental laws pulling down, energy pushing forward, and space-time subtly pulling back. Asterisk at any given nanosecond. During the unfolding of existence, these four fundamental aspects are incessantly at play, dynamically interacting. However, the profound secret to sustained existence is not merely their presence, but their exquisite, delicate balance. When the upward push of information precisely equals the downward pull of fundamental laws, and when the forward thrust of energy precisely balances the backward resistance of spacetime, the result is a state of straight and level existence, a stable, coherent reality. Introduce a change to this delicate balance, and the manifested object, be it a galaxy, a star, or a thought, will either climb into new realities, descend into chaos, accelerate, or decelerate its progression. Imagine, for a quiet moment, a majestic bird soaring effortlessly overhead. Its perfectly sculpted wings generate lift. Its inherent body weight provides the force of gravity. The rhythmic flapping of its wings creates thrust, and the very air pushing against its feathers causes drag. With the slightest, almost imperceptible adjustments, perhaps a subtle shift in wing angle or a brief, powerful beat of its tail, it can instantly alter the delicate balance of these forces, changing its direction or its altitude with breathtaking precision. It is not an act of brute force, but rather an exquisite display of finesse, a mastery that keeps the bird gracefully aloft and in absolute control. Cosmic structures and even human consciousness, in their own profound ways, abide by these very same unspoken rules. A conceptual pilot of reality, whether a conscious observer or a fundamental force, adjusts pitch to alter the information generated, adds throttle to increase energy, and uses flaps or air brakes of interaction to manipulate space-time. Resistance. Every conceptual movement is about subtly shifting the relationship between these fundamental aspects to suit the unfolding situation. Do you desire to climb into a new state of being? Then you must increase the information by angling the conceptual nose upward and increasing speed. Do you wish to descend into a state of reduced complexity? Then you must reduce energy, lower the conceptual nose, and allow the fundamental laws to lend a guiding hand. But this intricate balance isn't merely about navigating to your desired state. It is equally about maintaining intrinsic stability. An aircraft of existence, be it a vast cosmic entity or a fleeting thought, requires a certain sustained posture within the boundless air of reality. If it tilts too far forward, too far backward, or too dramatically sideways, its stability can be severely compromised, leading to potential collapse or a descent into incoherence. It is precisely at this juncture that conceptual control surfaces, or for the more organic birds of thought, subtle shifts in their wing and tail positions come into play, providing the necessary correctional inputs. In the grand airplay of the universe, there are conceptual elevators, rudders, and ailerons. The elevator meticulously controls pitch, influencing whether the cosmic nose points higher towards increased complexity or lower towards simpler states. The rudder precisely handles yaw, gracefully turning the cosmic nose left or right through the fabric of causality. And the ailerons meticulously manage roll, subtly tilting the wings of interaction up or down, to the left or right of the cosmic body. By skillfully combining the movements of these conceptual surfaces, the cosmic pilot can steer through the sky of existence with surprising grace and profound precision. A simple banked turn, for example, in the cosmic dance, demands a delicate, coordinated interplay of ailerons and rudder, meticulously adjusting the balance of information on each conceptual wing and maintaining a smooth energy flow. To prevent a stall in the cosmic process, birds of thought, of course, do not possess the luxury of physical flaps or mechanical levers. Instead, they instinctively tilt their conceptual wings, spread their metaphorical feathers of perception, and skillfully employ their tails, perhaps representing deep-seated emotional states or guiding principles, much like tiny rudders to subtly shift their mental balance. A soaring hawk of contemplation might extend its wings flat to maximize information and glide silently through the landscape of ideas. A diving falcon of focused analysis, on the other hand, tucks its wings in tightly to reduce space-time resistance and significantly increase its conceptual speed. It all culminates in the precise control of those four fundamental aspects: information, fundamental laws, energy, and space-time. A continuous fluid adjustment to the constant wind of new data, the speed of processing, and the ever-shifting dynamics of the cosmic air of reality. Conceptual gliders, such as theories that rely on emergent properties rather than direct fundamental forces, operate in a similar fashion, yet without the inherent benefit of a direct engine of propulsion. They depend entirely on rising air, that is, emergent properties, thermals of collective understanding, ridge lift from established principles, or mountain waves created by grand unifying theories to gain altitude and maintain information. Since they possess no inherent thrust of their own, they must perpetually trade altitude, depth of understanding for speed rate of processing, meticulously balancing information and space-time resistance. As they diligently search for invisible updrafts of new insights, glider pilots, those who engage in this form of deep theoretical exploration, often describe the sensation as less of a battle and more of a profound conversation with the sky of knowledge. It involves an intricate process of reading the air of prevailing ideas, acutely feeling the currents of logical flow, and precisely reacting to the gentle, subtle suggestions of the intellectual atmosphere. Even at the incredibly microscopic scale of quantum reality, fundamental insects manage this delicate balance, albeit in their own exquisitely unique ways. They generate information in bursts, relying on wing rotation, perhaps the spin of subatomic particles to subtly tweak the energy flow, and produce thrust with each asymmetric flap of their quantum existence. In this realm of tiny flyers, Space-time resistance is often welcomed as a stabilizing force rather than being viewed as an impediment. The balance at this scale becomes far more dynamic, more inherently chaotic. Yet, it remains no less essential for the persistence of reality. In high-speed flight, like that of a jet aircraft or a diving peregrine falcon, but transposed to the cosmos, such as a rapidly expanding region of the universe or a black hole, spiraling into its final moments, the fundamental aspects of information, energy, space-time, and law become even more pronounced in their interactions. Information must be generated in greater quantities to compensate for the inherent weight of reality at higher speeds. Space-time resistance increases exponentially, necessitating stronger engines of creation or sleeker, more efficient shapes of cosmic structure. Energy becomes the dominant force, with cosmic engines pushing back against the massive resistance encountered at high velocities. And stability transforms into a precarious tightrope walk, with cosmic control surfaces the fundamental constants and laws fine-tuning every motion to keep the aircraft or cosmic body on its precisely intended path. Understanding these four foundational aspects is not merely a task for cosmic pilots or theoretical engineers. It profoundly helps to elucidate the inherent elegance of a single human thought gliding across the mind. It illuminates the effortless swoop of a seagull, effortlessly riding a gentle breeze, and the inexplicable moment when a massive commercial jet, seemingly defying all logic, lifts gracefully from the runway. Existence in this context is not magic, but it is undeniably magnificent. It is an intricate balance of fundamental forces, a quiet whisper exchanged between the fabric of reality and every single object within it, constantly shifting, yet perpetually engaged in an ongoing dialogue. The profound beauty of existence lies not merely in its ability to expand or progress, but in its capacity to remain steady, to hold its intricate position against invisible pressures, and to subtly, yet profoundly, bend those pressures to its will. It is, in essence, the physics of freedom. And whether it is a bird riding the wind's currents or a grand cosmic structure powered by primordial combustion, the fundamental song, the underlying principle, remains eternally the same. Lift me, push me, hold me steady, and I will exist. The cosmic orchestra, from quantum hum to galactic roar jet engines, in their immense power and intricate design, are somewhat akin to incredibly determined, tireless air pumps, but with a fiery, awe-inspiring twist. Their singular, overarching purpose is to inhale colossal gulps of ambient air. Then, in a highly controlled and astonishingly precise manner, set that very air ablaze, and finally, expel it out the back with such raw, unbridled force and velocity that the entire engine itself, along with everything inextricably attached to it, be it an aircraft or, in our cosmic analogy, a burgeoning universe, is propelled vigorously forward. It stands as the quintessential, ultimate illustration of Newton's third law of motion in magnificent action. For every single action, there is an undeniably equal and profoundly opposite reaction. In the grand, thunderous case of a rocket, or, indeed, our analogical universe, the initial action is the violent expulsion of superheated gas at absolutely incredible speeds out of its rear. The resulting reaction, the cosmic kickback if you will, is that the rocket, or the universe, is pushed with immense force in the directly opposite direction upward, and eventually out of the dense confines of the atmosphere, or into the boundless expanse of existence. It is deceptively simple in its core concept, yet terrifyingly thunderous in its breathtaking execution. Unlike traditional propeller engines, which meticulously pull a plane through the air using the intricate rotation of blades, jet engines generate their thrust through a fundamentally different mechanism by aggressively accelerating a stream of air directly through a constricted, narrow tube. This astonishing process commences at the very front of the engine, within the intake section. As the aircraft or the nascent universe surges forward, air is forcibly rushed inward, entering the mouth of the engine where it immediately encounters the formidable fan. This is no ordinary, unassuming household fan. These colossal blades are often immense, frequently taller than an adult human, and are meticulously engineered to powerfully compress the incoming air with immense force. A significant portion of this compressed air, in a design feature known as a bypass, skillfully circumvents the primary engine core and flows gracefully around it. This bypassed air serves a dual purpose. It significantly aids in the crucial cooling of the engine components and, crucially, contributes additional, invaluable thrust. This design, particularly prevalent in high-bypass turbofan engines, is the workhorse commonly employed in the vast majority of commercial airliners, making long-haul flights economically viable. The remainder of the air, having been partially compressed, proceeds into the intricately designed compressor section. Here, a meticulously crafted series of spinning blades interspaced with stationary vanes works in concert to relentlessly squeeze the air, transforming it into a dense, high-pressure stream. This aggressive compression of the air not only dramatically elevates its temperature, but also, critically, renders it far more receptive to ignition. This highly pressurized, superheated air is then precisely funneled into the combustion chamber, a confined space where it finally encounters its cosmic fuel, typically a kerosene-based jet fuel. Or in our analogy, the fundamental particles and fields that constitute the raw material of existence. A precisely timed spark then ignites this volatile mixture, unleashing a meticulously controlled explosion that results in a dramatic and instantaneous increase in both pressure and temperature. Now, the truly dramatic part unfolds. The intensely hot, rapidly expanding gases are violently shot out the back of the engine at unimaginably high velocities. Before they completely exit the engine, however, they must first pass through a cosmic turbine, a sophisticated series of rotor blades. This internal windmill is set into furious motion by the sheer force of the escaping gases. This turbine, in turn, is intricately connected by a robust shaft to the front compressor, thereby ingeniously sustaining the entire propulsion process in a beautifully self-contained cycle. In essence, the incoming air provides the power to drive the machinery that pulls in even more air, creating a continuous, self-reinforcing loop. At the very culmination of this process, the incredibly fast-moving gases violently exit the engine's nozzle, and in direct, powerful response, the plane, or the universe, is propelled forward with immense force. All of these complex, interconnected events unfold in a mere matter of milliseconds, repeating thousands of times per minute, operating with astonishing efficiency, especially at high speeds and altitudes. Jet engines, while undoubtedly powerful and awe-inspiring, truly come into their own when an aircraft is cruising serenely at an altitude of 30,000 feet above the Earth, or when a universe is expanding billions of light-years away from its theoretical origin. In these vast, elevated realms, the ambient air, or the cosmic fabric, is significantly thinner, considerably colder, and far less crowded with impeding particles. Now, an exhilarating prospect emerges. If you push a jet or a universe to a sufficient speed, you will inevitably reach the speed of sound. This magical, elusive number is universally known as Mach 1. At sea level, under standard conditions, the speed of sound hovers at approximately 760 miles per hour, although this value exhibits subtle variations depending on altitude and temperature. Attaining such an incredible speed is by no means a trivial feat, and daring to venture beyond it to achieve supersonic flight, or, in our grand analogy, superluminal existence, introduces an entirely new and formidable array of challenges, pushing the very boundaries of known physics. Foremost among these challenges is the vexing issue of compressibility. as a plane or a universe draws tantalizingly close to the speed of sound. The air, or the very fabric of space-time directly in front of it, begins to behave in a profoundly anomalous manner. It can no longer sufficiently move out of the way with adequate swiftness, and consequently, it starts to violently compress, forming intense pressure waves that dramatically build up. These burgeoning waves, in an astonishing act of cosmic self-organization, eventually coalesced into a single, formidable shock wave. And when the plane, or the universe, heroically breaks through this impenetrable barrier, it unleashes a sonic boom, a sudden, thunderous crack of immense power that can shatter windows and startle birds for miles around, or, in our cosmic toss, parallel ripple through space-time, creating disturbances that could theoretically influence distant galaxies. Supersonic flight, and by extension, superluminal existence, absolutely necessitates engines and airframes, meticulously designed to withstand and effectively manage this extraordinarily intense environment. Jet engines that perform optimally at subsonic speeds often encounter significant difficulties when operating near or beyond Mach 1, or its cosmic equivalent. It is precisely at this juncture that afterburners, those magnificent fuel-guzzling powerhouses, make their dramatic entrance. These are secondary combustion chambers strategically located directly behind the primary turbine. By injecting a substantial quantity of additional fuel directly into the superheated exhaust stream and igniting it, afterburners provide a breathtaking burst of extra thrust. It's akin to transforming your engine into a meticulously controlled high-pressure fire hose, spewing raw power. The immediate result is an exhilarating surge of speed. But this comes at a significant cost, a dramatic and considerable increase in fuel consumption. Afterburners, while undeniably powerful, are inherently thirsty, consuming fuel at an astonishing rate. Military jets are the most common and effective users of afterburners for achieving supersonic flight. Fighter aircraft like the F-22 Raptor or the Eurofighter Typhoon can astonishingly exceed Mach 2, providing them with a critical tactical advantage in terms of unparalleled speed and breathtaking agility during combat maneuvers. However, all that extraordinary performance is inevitably accompanied by inherent trade-offs: immense heat generation, significantly increased noise pollution, and a much higher rate of fuel burn. Supersonic flight is, by its very nature, loud, expensive, and incredibly complicated, which in large part explains why it remains a relatively rare occurrence in civilian aviation to this day. Nevertheless, the audacious vision of supersonic passenger travel is not merely a flight of fancy. It is a historical reality. The Concorde, a magnificent Anglo-French marvel of engineering, commenced commercial service in the 1970s and possessed the astonishing capability to cruise at speeds exceeding Mach 2. This incredible aircraft effectively halved transatlantic flight times, whisking passengers from London to New York in under 3.5 hours. The experience aboard the Concorde was undeniably luxurious. The underlying technology was groundbreaking, and the engineering that brought it to life was nothing short of dazzling. However, the Concorde also faced significant limitations. Its powerful sonic booms severely restricted where it could legally fly over land. Its fuel efficiency was far from ideal, and the exorbitant ticket prices rendered it an exclusive club, accessible only to the wealthiest elite. Ultimately, rising operating costs coupled with a decreasing demand for its services led to the Concorde's unfortunate retirement in 2003, even prior to the Concorde. The Soviet-built Tupolev Tu-144 also achieved supersonic passenger flight, albeit with a far more tumultuous history and limited commercial success. While technically faster, it proved less reliable, and its operational service life was regrettably brief. Still, both of these remarkable aircraft unequivocally demonstrated that supersonic travel was, from a purely technical standpoint, entirely feasible. The true challenge was not in constructing an incredibly fast plane. It lay in the far more elusive goal of making such a fast plane genuinely practical and economically viable for widespread commercial use. Today, a quiet resurgence of interest in supersonic flight is palpable. New companies are diligently exploring the possibility of developing quieter sonic booms, achieving significantly improved fuel efficiency, and identifying viable routes that can effectively accommodate high-speed travel without incurring excessive environmental or economic penalties. Technologies such as variable cycle engines, advanced aerodynamic designs, and sustainable aviation fuels hold the promise of potentially bringing supersonic flight back into the mainstream, though this time imbued with a greater sense of 21st century sustainability and enhanced comfort. The pilot exercises meticulous control over this tail rotor using foot pedals. When the pilot gently presses the left pedal, the tail rotor's thrust is subtly reduced, which allows the aircraft to smoothly turn its nose to the left. Conversely, pressing the right pedal increases the tail rotor's thrust, causing the nose to gracefully turn to the right. It is, in essence, a remarkably simple idea in principle, yet it exerts a profoundly significant impact on the helicopter's stability and maneuverability. This crucial component stabilizes the entire aircraft and enables smooth, controlled yaw movement. It is worth noting that not all helicopters rigidly adhere to the conventional tail rotor design. Some configurations, such as the formidable Chinook helicopter, employ two large main rotors strategically mounted on top that are designed to spin in opposite directions. This ingenious configuration, aptly termed tandem rotors, inherently cancels out the problematic torque automatically, thereby completely eliminating the necessity for a dedicated tail rotor. There are also coaxial helicopters, famously built by Russian aerospace companies, which featured two sets of main rotors meticulously stacked directly on top of each other, spinning in opposing directions along the exact same vertical axis. This design offers a compact and highly efficient solution, proving particularly advantageous for heavy lifting operations in confined or tight spaces. Regardless of the specific rotor configuration, the ultimate objective remains universally the same: achieving stable, precisely controlled flight in all directions, critically, including the almost magical ability to hover motionless in the air. Hovering, in its apparent effortlessness, is, paradoxically, one of the most demanding and difficult maneuvers a helicopter can possibly execute. It necessitates continuous, incredibly precise micro-adjustments to maintain a perfectly level position, especially when contending with challenging wind conditions or unpredictable atmospheric turbulence. Every subtle puff of air, every minute shift in passenger weight, every infinitesimal change in ambient temperature, all these factors directly influence the delicate balance of lift and stability. Seasoned pilots often describe the act of hovering as akin to attempting to maintain balance on a large beach ball while simultaneously juggling several objects. It is a state of constant feedback and unwavering responsiveness, requiring the pilot to intuitively read both the aircraft's behavior and the environmental conditions, reacting instantly and almost unconsciously to every perceived nuance. This extraordinary agility is precisely what renders helicopters so remarkably useful. Across a vast array of applications, they possess the unique capability to reach locations that are utterly inaccessible to any other vehicle. This includes precarious rooftops, remote mountaintops, dense wilderness areas, confined urban canyons, and numerous other challenging environments. Consequently, helicopters are indispensable for critical medical evacuations, life-saving search and rescue missions, effective firefighting operations, heavy construction tasks, complex military operations, and even specialized tourism experiences. Anywhere where the critical factors of speed, unimpeded access, and pinpoint precision are paramount, the helicopter shines as an unparalleled tool. It is, in essence, like an airborne multi-tool, meticulously engineered and perpetually ready to adapt to virtually any conceivable situation or demand. Even the intricate layout of the helicopter cockpit itself eloquently reflects this inherent complexity. Unlike fixed-wing airplanes, which often rely on a simpler yoke or side stick and a single throttle control, helicopter pilots must skillfully manage three primary controls simultaneously: the collective four controlling overall lift, the cyclic for dictating direction, and the foot pedals for orchestrating yaw. All three of these controls must be operated in perfect, harmonious synchronicity. And all three are constantly responding to the perpetually changing forces of flight. It is, in equal measures, a breathtaking display of choreography, a profound application of scientific principles, and an astonishing testament to ingrained muscle memory. From a technological standpoint, helicopters are in a perpetual state of improvement and refinement. Newer models now feature advanced fly-by-wire systems, where pilot inputs are meticulously converted into electronic signals. This digital transmission allows for an even greater degree of precise and responsive control over the aircraft's movements. Some cutting-edge experimental designs are even exploring the radical possibility of entirely removing human pilots, replacing them with sophisticated automated systems or remote control capabilities. These pilotless aircraft are envisioned for roles such as automated delivery services, discrete surveillance operations, or rapid emergency response. Yet, despite all these remarkable technological advancements, the core physics governing helicopter flight remained fundamentally unchanged. The intricate interplay of lift, drag, thrust, and torque, all meticulously managed by rapidly spinning blades and carefully calibrated controls, continues to define their operational principles. Despite their undeniable complexity, helicopters possess a certain rugged, almost utilitarian charm. They appear profoundly mechanical, with their exposed parts and prominently rotating blades that convey a visceral sense of being alive and in motion. They emit a characteristic hum. They subtly shudder, and they respond with uncanny sensitivity to the slightest, most delicate touch from the pilot. Where fixed-wing airplanes are designed to slice cleanly and efficiently through the air, helicopters, in stark contrast, seem to engage in a continuous, intricate negotiation with the air itself, tilting, adjusting, and finessing their way through invisible currents and eddies. It is a unique kind of flight that gracefully trades sheer speed for unparalleled versatility and vast distance for pinpoint precision. A helicopter might not be able to transport you across a boundless ocean, but it possesses the extraordinary capability to pluck you from a perilous mountaintop or execute a flawless landing in a clearing no larger than a backyard trampoline. In many profound respects, the helicopter is not merely a machine of flight, but a powerful instrument of access, diligently taking people and resources to places where no conventional road or runway can ever extend. When one observes a helicopter hovering motionless in the air, its blades spinning in a blur, its body remarkably steady and poised, it is easy to momentarily forget the multitude of complex forces tirelessly at play. Yet beneath that, seemingly effortless floating posture lies a complex and breathtaking ballet of physics, ingenious engineering, and precise human control. It stands as the closest marvel we have ever constructed to a mechanical dragonfly, capable of hovering on demand, lifting off as if it has somewhere of utmost importance to be, and landing with the ethereal precision of a whisper. Rockets, it must be stated unequivocally, are not subtle machines. Where the gentle, feathered creatures glide with ethereal grace and sophisticated airplanes hum with understated power, rockets, in stark contrast, roar with an almost primal fury, shake the very ground with immense vibrations, and thunder their way with unapologetic might into the boundless sky. They are inherently loud, undeniably dramatic, and exquisitely, defiantly powerful. And they must be, for the formidable act of truly leaving Earth's relentless gravitational embrace is by no means an easy endeavor. It is insufficient to merely fly upward, to genuinely reach the vast, unforgiving expanse of space. A rocket is compelled to outrun gravity's tenacious pull, to violently punch through the densest, most resistant layers of our atmosphere, and to continuously, relentlessly accelerate until the planet's gravitational influence can no longer exert its powerful, insistent pull, drawing it back down. All of this must be achieved without the luxury of runways, without the aerodynamic assistance of wings, and crucially, without any possibility of a second attempt or the option of turning around once the ascent has begun. What fundamentally distinguishes rockets, making them truly special among all flying machines, is the singular manner in which they generate thrust. While jet engines and propeller-driven aircraft rely inherently on the surrounding air both for generating lift and for propulsion, rockets, by stark contrast, bring every single component they require for their journey with them. They have no need for wings to fly or for external air to push against. Instead, their entire operational principle hinges upon the elegant simplicity of Newton's third law of motion. For every action, there is an equal and profoundly opposite reaction. In the specific, awe-inspiring case of a rocket, the decisive action is the violent expulsion of superheated gas at absolutely incredible speeds from its rear. The resultant reaction, the irresistible force that propels the rocket, is that the rocket itself is pushed with immense power in the directly opposite direction, upward, and ultimately beyond the confines of our atmosphere, into the cosmic vacuum. To meticulously orchestrate this magnificent feat, rockets perform a controlled burn of immense quantities of fuel. However, unlike a conventional car engine or a sophisticated jet engine, which typically mix their fuel with oxygen drawn directly from the ambient air, rockets are uniquely obligated to carry their own oxidizer. This crucial requirement stems from the fact that once a rocket ascends to a sufficient altitude, the Earth's atmosphere becomes far too thin to adequately support combustion. And in the true vacuum of space, there is, of course, no air whatsoever. Consequently, if a rocket is to maintain its propulsion and continue its journey into the vast emptiness, it must transport its own independent air supply meticulously, stored in the form of liquid oxygen, highly volatile nitric acid, or some other potent oxidizing agent. This self-contained, self-sufficient system is precisely what enables rocket engines to function with unparalleled efficacy, both within the dense confines of our atmosphere and, crucially, far beyond it. A basic rocket engine operates on a principle of elegant simplicity, though its execution is incredibly complex. Fuel and oxidizer are meticulously pumped into a combustion chamber where they are precisely ignited. This controlled ignition produces intensely hot gases that rapidly expand and are then violently forced through a narrow, precisely shaped nozzle located at the bottom of the engine. As these superheated gases are forcefully shot downward and outward with immense velocity, the rocket is simultaneously pushed upward with an equally immense force in direct response. It is critical to understand that it is not merely the spectacular flames that propel the rocket forward. Rather, it is the sheer, violent, high-speed release of gas, being powerfully shoved in one direction, that allows the massive rocket to move with such force in the diametrically opposite direction. This reaction-based propulsion system, while incredibly effective, is also, paradoxically, extremely inefficient when compared to most other forms of transport. Rockets consume fuel at an absolutely astonishing rate. A typical large-scale rocket, for instance, might weigh hundreds of tons at the moment of launch. Yet the overwhelming majority of that immense weight is comprised solely of fuel. By the time it successfully reaches its intended orbit, only a minuscule fraction of its original colossal mass remains. It stands as the ultimate dramatic example of employing brute force, immense power and fuel consumption to ultimately achieve an elegant, almost effortless trajectory. It's an immense amount of fuel, a spectacular display of fire, and an incredibly narrow window of time during which every single component must perform flawlessly to make the entire audacious endeavor work. One of the most compelling reasons rockets demand such prodigious amounts of fuel is the relentless, unwavering pull of gravity. Earth's gravitational field is ceaseless, persistent, and incredibly powerful. To effectively break free of its tenacious grip, a rocket must achieve what is known as escape velocity, the precise speed at which an object, once attained, will no longer be inexorably pulled back down to the planet. For Earth, that critical speed is approximately 25,000 miles per hour, an almost unimaginable velocity. Thankfully, rockets are not required to attain this staggering speed instantaneously. Instead, they can gradually, meticulously accelerate by continuously applying thrust, building up speed as they ascend. Still, the process of reaching a stable orbit typically involves simultaneously flying sideways at around 17,000 miles per hour while continuously climbing upward through multiple layers of increasingly thinner air. It is far from being a simple vertical sprint. Rather, it is a meticulously planned, graceful arc that expertly balances the need for gaining altitude with the critical requirement of achieving immense horizontal speed. And it is precisely here that the concept of staging gracefully enters the picture. Most rockets, contrary to what one might initially imagine, are not designed as a single monolithic unit that travels from launch to orbit. Instead, they are ingeniously constructed in stages distinct, stacked layers, each equipped with its own dedicated engines and self-contained fuel tanks. The first stage, typically the largest and most powerful component, bears the immense responsibility of lifting the entire rocket off the ground and propelling it through the densest part of the lower atmosphere. Once its immense store of fuel is completely spent, its first stage is then jettisoned, a strategic shedding of weight to significantly reduce the overall mass of the ascending vehicle. The second stage then seamlessly takes over, its engines igniting to push the remaining payload higher and faster into space. For more ambitious deep space missions or those requiring exceptionally precise orbital insertion, there is sometimes even a third stage. This methodical, step-by-step shedding of used components is a critical design philosophy that profoundly helps to conserve energy and dramatically improve the overall efficiency of the launch. Continuing to carry empty fuel tanks into orbit would be akin to attempting to hike up an immense mountain, while simultaneously dragging your own empty lunchbox for the entirety of the arduous ascent. Far better to discard what is no longer needed and continue the journey lighter and faster. Modern rockets, in their incredible diversity, come in a vast array of shapes and sizes. Yet the fundamental physics governing their operation remains universally the same across the board. Whether one is observing a relatively small satellite launcher or a colossal interplanetary vehicle destined for the farthest reaches of our solar system, the underlying principle is always about a mass being forcefully pushed in one direction to propel the rocket with equal force in the directly opposite direction. This immutable principle holds true regardless of the type of propellants employed, whether it be liquid fuel, solid fuel, or even something more exotic and cutting-edge. Like ion propulsion, though ion engines are more commonly utilized for propulsion in the vacuum of deep space, rather than for initial atmospheric liftoff. Solid fuel rockets and their construction are comparatively simpler. Their fuel and oxidizer are pre-mixed into a stable, solid compound that once ignited, burns continuously until depleted. These rockets are renowned for their reliability and immense power, but they possess a significant limitation. Once ignited, they cannot be turned off or throttled. Liquid fuel rockets, conversely, offer a far greater degree of control. Their fuel and oxidizer are meticulously stored in separate tanks and are mixed only when precisely needed, allowing the engine's thrust to be throttled completely shut down, or even restarted mid-flight. While inherently more complex in their design, they are considerably more versatile, making them ideal for crewed missions or delicate orbital maneuvers. Beyond these, there are also hybrid engines, which ingeniously combine elements from both solid and liquid propulsion systems, and a frontier of experimental engines that leverage plasma or electricity to generate thrust. While these nascent technologies may not entirely supplant traditional chemical rockets for initial launch, they hold the potential to revolutionize long-distance space travel in the coming decades, one of the most impressive and transformative developments in the realm of modern rocketry is the burgeoning rise of reusable rockets. Traditionally, rockets were designed for a single-use mission, after which their spent stages were discarded, often burning up harmlessly in the atmosphere, or plummeting into the vast, waiting ocean. This single-use philosophy rendered space travel staggeringly, almost prohibitively, expensive. However, visionary companies such as SpaceX and Blue Origin have fundamentally transformed this paradigm, literally flipping the script by designing booster stages that possess the remarkable ability to autonomously return to Earth, execute a precision vertical landing, and then be meticulously prepared for subsequent launches. It is, in essence, an engineering feat somewhat akin to tossing a pencil high into the air, having it perform a few intricate flips, then watching it land perfectly upright on its eraser, an astonishing display of control. The fundamental physics governing this process has not, in essence, changed, but the engineering prowess has dramatically caught up to the long-cherished dream of reusability. And speaking of dreams, there is an undeniably deep, almost poetic quality inherent in rockets themselves. They are unashamedly loud, often messy, and possess the power to make the very ground tremble when they lift off. Yet, these same powerful machines carry priceless telescopes into orbit, deploy vital weather satellites, transport sophisticated robotic explorers to the farthest reaches of our solar system, and, on occasion, carry human beings into the cosmic expanse. They transform the vast, seemingly unbreachable sky from a mere ceiling into a magnificent, exhilarating gateway to the unknown. When you witness a rocket majestically rising into the clouds, leaving behind a fiery, thundering trail, it is almost impossible not to feel a profound sense of wonder stirring deep within at their foundational core. Rockets are machines meticulously built upon a remarkably simple, yet profoundly powerful idea. If you push hard enough in one specific direction, you will inevitably be propelled with equal force in the diametrically opposite direction. It is Newton's third law, imbued with attitude, colossal scale, and an immense amount of noise. But beneath all the exhilarating drama and raw power, there lies a clean, elegant, and beautifully efficient principle. Forcefully expel fire and exhaust gases out the back, and upward you ascend. Of course, successfully reaching space is merely the initial, monumental step. The subsequent acts of staying there, establishing a stable orbit, performing intricate docking maneuvers, and ultimately safely returning to Earth, all of these actions are governed by their own distinct and equally challenging set of rules. However, none of the subsequent cosmic ballet can commence without that initial, powerful leap, that first titanic blast of energy that defiantly overcomes gravity and violently breaks through the Earth's dense atmosphere. Rocket science might sound intimidatingly complex, yet at its heart, it is simply physics performing at its absolute best, meticulously turning raw energy into powerful motion, transforming that motion into exhilarating escape, and finally, translating that escape into boundless possibility, whether the mission involves launching a crucial satellite, diligently delivering vital supplies to an orbiting space station, or boldly sending robotic explorers to the far-flung edge of our solar system. It all originates from that single fundamental principle. Push hard enough with sufficient force and precision, and you just might leave the planet behind, embarking on a journey into the cosmic unknown, the cosmic balancing act, orbit and re-entry's grand. Balai orbit is one of those profound scientific concepts that, at first glance, appear deceptively simple. The commonly repeated mantra suggests, fly fast enough sideways, and you'll never hit the ground. However, upon closer, more meticulous examination of the underlying physics, it dramatically reveals itself to be an exquisitely graceful balancing act, a precise cosmic ballet performed between the relentless, unyielding pull of gravity and the irresistible forward momentum of an object. It is, in essence, a perpetual cosmic tug-of-war where the orbiting object never truly wins nor definitively loses. Instead, it simply loops endlessly, gracefully, and silently around its celestial body. This state is not flying in the traditional, conventional sense we usually envision. In fact, being in orbit is far more akin to a continuous, perfectly controlled state of falling, but with a unique, celestial twist. To truly grasp the intricate mechanics of orbit, imagine, if you will, the simple act of throwing a baseball. Give it a gentle toss, and it describes a modest arc before inevitably succumbing to gravity and hitting the ground a short distance away. Now visualize throwing that same baseball with considerably more force, and it travels a greater distance before its downward trajectory concludes. Now stretch your imagination even further. Conceive of throwing that baseball with such incredible, almost unimaginable speed that as it perpetually falls towards the Earth, the very curvature of the Earth's surface recedes beneath it at precisely the same rate. In this astonishing scenario, the baseball would continue its endless fall, yet it would never, in fact, actually reach the ground. That, in its profound essence, is precisely what being in orbit signifies. You are, paradoxically, in a perpetual state of falling around the Earth, never truly down to it. In low Earth orbit, for instance, this captivating celestial dance occurs at an approximate speed of 17,000 miles per hour. At such breathtaking velocities, an object like the colossal International Space Station gracefully circles the entire DEM-GOT, the entire DEM planet in an astonishingly brief period, roughly 90 minutes. The fundamental key to sustaining orbit here is not merely achieving a high altitude, but rather, crucially, maintaining an immense horizontal velocity. If an object were to simply ascend straight up and then cease its upward motion, the Earth's gravity would immediately and inexorably yank it back down. However, if that same object is propelled sideways with sufficient speed while simultaneously gaining altitude, it can perpetually remain aloft, caught in a continuous, forward-moving fall. Unlike conventional airplanes, which generate lift using wings and rely on powerful engines to actively counteract the force of gravity, spacecraft in orbit operate purely on the principle of sheer, sustained speed. There is no air at those altitudes to glide through, and consequently, no discernible aerodynamic lift to speak of. Once a spacecraft successfully achieves orbit, it remarkably does not need to continuously fire its engines. In the profound vacuum of space, there is virtually no friction, no air resistance to speak of, nothing to impede its motion and slow it down. Thus, it simply continues its journey, coasting effortlessly along its precisely curved path around the planet. There exists a fascinating array of different types of orbits, each meticulously tailored to the specific requirements of its mission. Low Earth orbit LEO is the most common destination for the vast majority of satellites and all crewed space missions, encompassing everything from the iconic Hubble Space Telescope to the rapidly expanding constellations of Starlink satellites. Farther out in the cosmic expanse, we encounter geostationary orbit, situated approximately 22,000 miles above the Earth's equator. Satellites in this unique orbit move at precisely the same angular velocity as the Earth rotates. Consequently, when observed from the ground. They appear to hang motionless in one fixed position in the sky, a characteristic that makes this orbit exceptionally advantageous for applications such as continuous weather observation and global television broadcasting. Beyond these, there are also elliptical orbits, polar orbits, and sun-synchronous orbits, each meticulously designed and tailored to meet highly specific needs, yet all fundamentally predicated on the same underlying principle: achieving a precise balance between the relentless pull of gravity and just the right amount of horizontal speed. Successfully attaining orbit is, in itself, an incredibly challenging endeavor. However, the subsequent act of returning safely back to Earth presents an entirely different and equally formidable set of challenges. Re-entry, despite its seemingly straightforward designation as simply falling back to Earth, is, in reality, a far more complex and delicate process akin to meticulously managing an atmospheric dive at speeds so astonishingly high that they make ordinary meteorites appear leisurely by comparison. A returning spacecraft re-entering from low Earth orbit impacts the Earth's atmosphere at an astonishing speed of around 17,000 miles per hour. At such staggering velocities, the air does not behave like a soft, cushioning medium. Instead, it acts more like an impenetrable wall of incandescent fire as the spacecraft plummets rapidly through the atmosphere. It violently compresses the air directly in front of it with such immense speed and force that this compressed air superheats to temperatures reaching thousands of degrees Celsius. This intense heat is crucially not generated by friction, as is often erroneously assumed, but rather by the sheer, brutal force of compression. Much in the same way a simple bicycle pump heats up significantly when you rapidly compress air within it, albeit on an unimaginably more dramatic and destructive scale. To survive this harrowing, fiery descent, spacecraft are critically reliant on robust heat shields. These protective components are meticulously constructed from specialized materials, precisely engineered to absorb and then dissipate the immense thermal energy generated during re-entry. In many instances, the heat shield employs an ablative design, meaning it intentionally burns away layer by microscopic layer during the re-entry process. As it ablates, it effectively carries the intense heat away from the spacecraft's underlying structure, thereby meticulously protecting the precious payload or crew inside. It is, in a profound sense, akin to purposefully sacrificing the outer shell to meticulously preserve the cool, protected interior. The precise shape of the spacecraft also plays a critically important role in this survival. Capsules, such as those famously utilized in the Apollo missions, the Russian Soyuz, or SpaceX's innovative Crew Dragon, are meticulously designed with a blunt, rounded shape. This specific geometry serves to effectively spread the intense heat across a wide surface area and, crucially, significantly slows the descent by creating a greater amount of atmospheric drag. It might seem counterintuitive at first glance, but successfully slowing down a spacecraft when re-entering from space demands exceptionally good aerodynamics. Though in this particular context, the primary objective is to facilitate a safe, controlled fall rather than to achieve graceful flight. Controlled re-entry is an intricate process that demands incredibly precise calculations. If a spacecraft enters the atmosphere at too steep an angle, it risks catastrophic overheating and burning up entirely, or subjecting its crew to dangerously high GI forces that could prove fatal. Conversely, if it enters at too shallow an angle, it could dangerously skip off the atmosphere's upper layers, much like a stone skims across water, potentially leading to it being flung back into space or landing completely off course, perhaps nowhere at all. Re-entry corridors are notoriously narrow, and even small deviations from the calculated trajectory can have immense and unforgiving consequences. Sophisticated guidance systems, precise thrusters, and impeccable timing all play a crucial, coordinated role in ensuring that the spacecraft impacts the atmosphere at precisely the correct angle and ultimately lands within its meticulously planned recovery zone. For missions returning from beyond low Earth orbit, such as those returning from the Moon or hypothetical future missions from Mars, the speeds and the heat generated during re-entry are even more extreme and formidable. Returning from the Moon, for instance, entails re-entering the Earth's atmosphere at speeds exceeding 24,000 miles per hour. Consequently, the heat shields for such missions must be meticulously designed to withstand even more intense conditions. And every single aspect of the re-entry process becomes exponentially more critical and unforgiving. Once a spacecraft has successfully navigated the searing inferno of atmospheric re-entry, it still requires mechanisms to further slow down to safe landing speeds. Some utilize massive parachutes to gently lower the capsule into a designated ocean recovery area, or onto a solid ground landing site. Other craft, notably the iconic Space Shuttle, were ingeniously designed to glide down to a runway, essentially functioning as a giant unpowered plane. In recent years, new and groundbreaking technologies have been developed for achieving extraordinarily precise landings. SpaceX's Falcon 9 first-stage boosters, for example, employ advanced grid fins, cold gas thrusters, and sophisticated onboard computers to return to Earth and execute remarkably accurate vertical landings, preparing them for reuse in subsequent missions. Beyond the sheer technical feats, there is an undeniably deep, almost poetic quality to the interconnected concepts of orbit and re-entry. To be in orbit is to float gracefully on the razor's edge between the eternal fall and perpetual flight, suspended in continuous motion, utterly weightless, and profoundly distant from the world below. To undertake re-entry, then, is to embark on a fiery journey homeward, a passage through a tumultuous storm of fire and relentless gravity, meticulously shedding speed and silence until massive parachutes bloom in the sky and the familiar Earth rushes up to greet you. A poignant reunion. What makes orbit so fundamentally different from conventional flight is that once you are there, in that vast, silent void, you are no longer truly flying in the way we typically conceive of it, with wings generating lift. Instead, you are effortlessly coasting through the profound vacuum, perpetually circling a planet that is, at every single moment, striving to pull you back. And if you desire to return, it is not as simple as merely pointing your craft downward. You must painstakingly slow down, meticulously bleed off your immense orbital momentum, and then courageously survive the inferno of atmospheric compression. All of it, every single aspect, is an intricate, awe-inspiring dance with the fundamental principles of physics, the slingshot effect of gravity, the razor-thin margins of speed and entry angle, the delicate threading of the spacecraft through the precise layers of atmosphere at thousands of miles per hour. It is precisely this kind of monumental challenge that imbues the very idea of space travel with such an exhilarating sense of excitement, and, paradoxically, renders the astonishing reality of it so profoundly humbling. Orbit and re-entry are not merely technical milestones in humanity's ongoing journey into space. They are, in their deepest essence, powerful proof of what becomes profoundly possible when human beings apply their insatiable curiosity and unwavering ingenuity to the boundless mysteries of the cosmos. They unequivocally demonstrate to us that with the correct speed, the precise angle, and a healthy dose of unyielding courage, we possess the remarkable capacity to temporarily leave our world behind and, just as importantly, to find our way safely back again. Nature's master engineers, the biomimicry of flight. If you have ever been fortunate enough to observe a hummingbird, seemingly suspended, motionless in midair, its tiny wings a blur, or witnessed the graceful descent of a maple seed twirling towards the ground like a miniature, self-propelled helicopter, then you have, in that quiet moment, unequivocally witnessed nature's original, unparalleled flight engineers diligently at work. long before the ingenious human mind ever conceived of or even began to sketch the very first rudimentary flying machines. The natural world had, through countless eons of evolution, already meticulously figured out an astonishingly diverse variety of methods to conquer the boundless realm of the air. Birds, insects, bats, various gliding mammals, and even the seemingly simple seeds of plants all have, over geological timescales, evolved incredibly sophisticated mechanisms to navigate through the sky with an exquisite blend of precision, remarkable efficiency, and, at times, a captivating dash of natural flair. It is, therefore, hardly a surprise that engineers and scientists, facing increasingly complex design challenges, have progressively turned their gaze towards nature itself for profound inspiration. This intellectual approach, now widely recognized and formalized as biomimicry, is entirely centered on the profound concept of learning, directly from the ingenious designs and efficient processes that have already been perfected by billions of years of relentless evolution. The goal is to then thoughtfully and judiciously apply these time-tested natural solutions to the pressing challenges of modern technology. The quintessential and most historically prominent example of this profound learning, of course, is the bird. For many centuries, from the earliest dreams of flight, human beings have consistently looked to birds as the ultimate archetypal model for achieving sustained flight. The visionary Wright brothers, in their relentless pursuit of mechanical flight, meticulously studied the flight dynamics of common pigeons and soaring hawks while painstakingly developing their groundbreaking flying machines. The fundamental, quintessential airfoil shape of wings, characterized by a gently curved top surface and a relatively flatter bottom, is a direct, undeniable borrowing from the intricate anatomy of birds, a testament to nature's inherent design wisdom. However, as our technological capabilities have progressively evolved and become exponentially more sophisticated, our attempts at biomimicry have, in turn, become far more nuanced and complex. We are no longer content with merely copying the rudimentary wing shapes. Our endeavors now extend to mimicking the intricate muscle movements of avian flight, the remarkable flexibility inherent in individual feathers, and even the astonishingly subtle ways in which birds sense and instinctively respond to the unpredictable forces of air turbulence. Some of the most cutting-edge and revolutionary research in this field presently involves the development of flapping wing robots, often referred to as ornithopters. These advanced machines are not content with merely gliding through the air. They actively flap their meticulously designed wings, much like living birds or insects. This design approach presents an inherently challenging engineering problem, primarily because flapping flight necessitates highly dynamic motion and demands ceaseless, instantaneous control over multiple variables. Unlike a conventional fixed-wing aircraft that achieves lift and propulsion through simpler, steady-state aerodynamics, an ornithopter must continuously contend with and precisely balance the constantly changing forces of lift, thrust, and stability, all of which are in flux with each individual wing beat. Yet the potential payoff from mastering this complex form of flight is immense. Unparalleled agility. These remarkable robots are theoretically capable of maneuvering with extreme precision through tight, confined spaces, executing perfect hovering maneuvers, and darting with incredible accuracy. Such capabilities render them ideally suited for critical applications like covert surveillance, challenging search and rescue operations, or even the delicate task of automated pollination within controlled greenhouse environments. Some of these sophisticated ornithopters are meticulously modeled after the rapid, precise flight of hummingbirds, while others draw their inspiration from the graceful, fluttering movements of butterflies or the swift acrobatic darting of dragonflies. Each unique design in its own way taps into a different, specific set of aerodynamic tricks and evolutionary solutions honed by nature. Insects, particularly, have emerged as incredibly popular and fruitful role models for biomimicry due to their astonishingly diverse and efficient flight mechanisms. Their wings are often remarkably flexible, inherently asymmetrical, and possess the incredible capacity to generate lift in ways that frequently defy and even seem to contradict traditional aerodynamic models developed for larger aircraft. Consequently, tiny drones, meticulously designed to mimic the buzzing flight of bees or the erratic movements of flies, are now actively being developed for a range of critical tasks, including precise environmental monitoring or detailed crop inspection in agriculture. These microscopic air vehicles, or micro-air vehicles, MAVs, are engineered to be exceptionally lightweight, remarkably energy efficient, and capable of navigating highly complex terrain with surprising ease, precisely mirroring the innate abilities of their biological counterparts. Some of these cutting-edge designs even incorporate artificial muscles, meticulously crafted from smart materials that possess the remarkable ability to bend or contract when exposed to an electric current. This technological innovation precisely mimics the rapid, almost twitchy precision of an insect's natural wing beat, offering an unprecedented level of bio-inspired control. Nature's profound inspiration extends far beyond the mere mechanics of wings. The intricate structures of bird and lizard tails, for instance, are being meticulously studied for the invaluable insights they provide into how these appendages contribute to stabilizing flight and how they enable rapid actual recovery from unexpected mid-air tumbles. The iridescent scales of butterflies, seemingly simple at first glance, are now being rigorously explored for their potential to yield incredibly lightweight, yet remarkably heat-resistant materials, a crucial advancement for future aerospace applications. Even the compound eyes of insects, with their mosaic-like structure, are exerting a significant influence on advanced camera design, as their unique optical configuration allows for incredibly wide-angle views without the accompanying distortion that plagues conventional lenses. And then, unexpectedly, there are seeds. Yes, those unassuming, often overlooked products of plant reproduction. Some of nature's most elegant flyers don't flap their way through the air or gracefully glide on air currents. They spin. The seed of the Javan cucumber tree, for example, possesses distinctive wing-like appendages that enable it to gracefully soar through the air for surprisingly long distances before softly landing. Maple seeds perform a similar mesmerizing aerial dance, twirling towards the ground in a mesmerizing spiral motion. This rotation not only significantly slows their descent, but also, crucially, helps to spread them far from the confines of the parent tree, aiding in species dispersal. Engineers, drawing direct inspiration from these elegant, natural designs, have successfully created passive gliding devices. These devices, devoid of any need for power sources or complex control systems, are capable of precisely delivering remote sensors or vital medical supplies, embodying a simplicity and efficiency born from billions of years of natural selection. The influence of fish and other aquatic animals also significantly contributes to this remarkable story of biomimicry. Their exquisitely streamlined bodies and the incredibly efficient motion they achieve through water offer profound insights into how airflow, and indeed, fluid dynamics in general, can be meticulously controlled. After all, air and water, despite their obvious differences, are both fundamental fluids governed by strikingly similar physical rules. The powerful, agile flippers of a penguin, for instance, serve as a direct source of inspiration for the development of highly maneuverable underwater drones designed for exploration and observation. However, the very same underlying principles derived from aquatic motion are now being ingeniously adapted for airborne applications as well, particularly in challenging environments characterized by high turbulence or unpredictable gusts of wind, where inherent flexibility and precise flow control become absolutely critical for stable flight. One of the most profoundly fascinating and cutting-edge areas within the field of biomimicry is the ambitious development of morphing wings aerodynamic. Structures that possess the remarkable ability to dynamically change their shape during flight. Birds, as master aviators, perform this naturally and effortlessly, precisely folding their wings tightly during high-speed dives, then gracefully spreading them wide to maximize lift during a glide, and even subtly adjusting individual feathers for minute-precise corrections to their trajectory. Conventional aircraft, with their rigid, fixed wings, have historically been unable to replicate this astonishing level of adaptability, at least not with ease or efficiency. However, researchers are now actively experimenting with advanced materials and ingenious mechanical mechanisms that allow wings to bend, twist, and even subtly grow or shrink in span to seamlessly adapt to radically different flight conditions. Some of these innovative systems employ memory metals, which possess the unique property of changing shape when precisely heated, or sophisticated hydraulic systems that meticulously shift internal pressure to alter the wing's aerodynamic form. Even the humble feather itself is currently under intense scientific scrutiny within this field. Its incredibly lightweight yet robust structure, its intricate, overlapping arrangement, and its astonishing ability to dampen sound are providing invaluable inspiration for significant improvements in aircraft noise reduction and enhanced aerodynamic control. Owl feathers, in particular, possess uniquely serrated edges that significantly reduce turbulence and enable an almost eerily silent grit flecha, groundbreaking feature that engineers ardently hope to integrate into future drone designs and, eventually, even into passenger planes to reduce noise pollution. The expansive field of biomimicry also extends its influence to the critical domain of navigation. Birds famously migrate across entire continents, navigating immense distances with unerring accuracy. Insects, despite their minuscule size, manage to return to tiny, almost imperceptible nesting sites. And bats, those nocturnal aerial acrobats, expertly weave through complex, pitch-dark caves. All of these incredible feats are achieved through a sophisticated, multisensory blend of visual cues, the detection of subtle magnetic fields, and the precise interpretation of acoustic signals. By meticulously studying these intricate biological navigation systems, engineers are actively developing vastly improved guidance systems for autonomous aircraft, including next-generation drones that are capable of navigating without reliance on GPS, instead utilizing advanced, vision-based or sonar-inspired methods to perceive and traverse their environment. There is also a deeply philosophical dimension to all of this. Biomimicry fundamentally challenges the ingrained, conventional notion that nature and technology are inherently separate entities, existing in distinct, unconnected realms. Instead, it powerfully suggests that nature, in its entirety, is, in fact, an immensely sophisticated form of technology that has unfolded and been refined over a timeline billions of years longer than our own nascent technological journey. Evolution, through its relentless process of natural selection, has already solved countless, incredibly complex engineering problems, not through brute force or wasteful overdesign, but through an exquisite process of continuous refinement, clever repurposing, and profound optimization over vast stretches of time. A bird, for instance, does not possess the raw, brute power of a modern jet engine, but it simply does not need to. It is, in its very essence, incredibly efficient, remarkably lightweight, and exquisitely tuned to its precise ecological niche and environment. Engineers often find that the more deeply they study the intricacies of natural flight, the more profoundly humbled they become by its sheer, astonishing complexity. The almost instantaneous mid-air twist of a tiny sparrow to deftly avoid a branching obstacle. The seemingly impossible ability of a bee to hover motionless while simultaneously adjusting to unexpected gusts of wind. The breathtaking precision of a bat's echolocation-guided dive through a cluttered, dark cave hall. These remarkable feats involve not merely clever anatomical structures, but a continuous dynamic interplay of sensory feedback, incredibly rapid neural processing, and exquisitely fine-tuned muscle control. Replicating these astonishing capabilities in mechanical machines demands a radical rethinking, not just of how we meticulously build aircraft, but fundamentally how we program them to respond, to adapt, and even to genuinely learn from their environments. Admittedly, there remains a long and challenging path ahead. Nature has had an unimaginably massive head start in the grand evolutionary race, and many of its intricate designs and biological solutions still remain tantalizingly beyond our current technological reach. However, with each new scientific discovery, each innovative flapping robot, or each elegantly designed seat-inspired glider, we are progressively drawing closer to the profound goal of constructing machines that do not merely fly, but truly excel at flight. Machines that operate not with brute strength and excessive power consumption, but with an inherent elegance and remarkable efficiency. Machines that function not in defiance of nature's principles, but in a harmonious, profound collaboration with them. Biomimicry, in its essence, doesn't just make our machines better. It fundamentally makes them smarter, significantly quieter, and far more adaptable to complex real-world conditions. It serves as a powerful and constant reminder that the sky is not merely a vast space to be conquered by human ingenuity, but rather a vibrant, living place already brimming with countless flying things that possess an immense amount to teach us. And if we are truly willing to listen to the subtle rustle of unseen wings, to the intricate buzz of a bee's tireless flight, to the silent, mesmerizing spiral of a descending seed, there exists a boundless, profound world of innovative design ideas, patiently waiting to lift us to entirely new and unimagined heights of understanding and technological achievement. Evolution's aerial ballet, a journey through flight's origins flight, in the grand tapestry of biological evolution, stands as one of nature's most astonishing and ingenious tricks. It is a breathtaking, almost improbable, and at times, downright extravagant solution to the perennial, universal problem of getting from one place to another without the laborious necessity of walking, running, or endlessly crawling along the ground. What renders this evolutionary feat even more profoundly impressive is the startling realization that it did not simply evolve once as a singular serendipitous event. Instead, it emerged, quite astonishingly, at least 4 separate times, completely independently, within 4 vastly different and unrelated groups of living organisms: insects, pterosaurs, birds, and bats. This remarkable convergence, this repeated independent innovation, serves as nature's emphatic way of communicating a powerful message. If at first you do not succeed, then try. Try again, and then, with unwavering persistence, keep trying until something, anything, truly begins to soar into the heavens. Each of these distinct groups, in their own unique evolutionary journeys, confronted and eventually overcame their specific set of profound evolutionary puzzles. Achieving liftoff from the Earth's surface is by no means a simple undertaking. It demands far more than merely possessing a pair of rudimentary wings. It necessitates a radical biological redesign, the development of incredibly lightweight body structures, the evolution of immensely strong and efficient muscles, the refinement of highly efficient respiratory systems, the acquisition of impeccable balance, and, perhaps most critically, a complete and often dramatic overhaul of limbs that were originally intended for entirely different modes of locomotion: crawling, swimming, or climbing. Yet, when the potential rewards are so immense, the ability to swiftly escape powerful predators, the opportunity to access entirely new and abundant food sources, or simply the unparalleled freedom to glide effortlessly into vast, unexplored territories of evolution in its boundless ingenuity, proves more than willing to undertake the monumental work required. The very first creatures on Earth to truly master the skies were insects, achieving this astonishing feat over 300 million years ago. This predates the appearance of birds, predates the era of dinosaurs, and even occurred long before the trees of Earth bore any resemblance to their modern counterparts. Insects, in an incredible display of evolutionary foresight, literally invented powered flight at a time when other land animals were still grappling with the rudimentary challenges of learning how to walk efficiently. And they did so with an undeniable sense of style and unparalleled success. Early dragonflies, for instance, were colossal by insect standards, boasting wingspans that could easily exceed 2 feet. They majestically dominated the Carboniferous skies, buzzing over vast, swampy, prehistoric forests like living airborne relics plucked directly from the pages of a fantastical science fiction novel. What is truly wild and intellectually captivating about insect flight is the prevailing scientific hypothesis that it seems to have evolved from entirely scratch, not through the modification of existing limbs, but quite possibly from the evolutionary development of simple, non-appendage extensions of their exoskeleton, perhaps initially used for thermoregulation or for rudimentary gliding. Eventually, over immense timescales, these primitive structures gained mobility, becoming meticulously supported by specialized musculature, and somewhere along this incredible evolutionary trajectory, they began to flap with purpose and control. And once an insect possessed the astonishing ability to flap its wings with precision and control, the sky was no longer a distant, unreachable limit. It became, unequivocally, their home. The undeniable fact that insects, even today, remain the most diverse and numerically abundant flying animals on the planet speaks volumes about the unparalleled success and evolutionary brilliance with which they deciphered the intricate code of flight. Fast forward many millions of years, and the cosmic clock brings us to the next profound evolutionary leap in the history of flight: the pterosaurs. These magnificent creatures were not, strictly speaking, dinosaurs, but rather their close, formidable relatives. And it was these majestic beasts that proudly bore the distinction of being the first vertebrates to achieve sustained, upward flight. Their diversity was astounding. Some were remarkably small, no larger than a modern sparrow, while others, like the awe-inspiring Quetzalcoatlus, possessed truly colossal wingspans that stretched over 30 feet, rivaling the dimensions of modern light aircraft. Their ingenious wings were constructed from a thin, leathery membrane, meticulously stretched from an incredibly elongated fourth finger all the way down to their ankles, effectively forming a robust yet flexible aerodynamic sail. Unlike birds, which would much later evolve to utilize feathers and extensively modified forelimbs for their aerial prowess, pterosaurs relied on a wing structure more akin to that of a bat's wing, albeit with their own unique and specialized anatomical solutions. They possessed remarkably lightweight, low bones to significantly reduce their overall body weight, a specialized crest on their sternum that provided an expansive surface for the attachment of powerful flight muscles, and in many species, elaborate, often flamboyant head crests that might have served various purposes, including aiding in balance, acting as a display during mating rituals, or perhaps a combination of both. Pterosaurs reigned supreme in the Mesozoic skies for an astonishing period of over 150 million years, a testament to their evolutionary success, before eventually going extinct alongside their much larger dinosaur cousins. But while the pterosaurs themselves vanished from the Earth, the powerful, compelling idea of flight, of defying gravity, resolutely persisted. And so, into this grand narrative enter the birds. These magnificent creatures, direct descendants of small, feathered dinosaurs, meticulously refined the complex mechanics of flight into something exquisitely sleek, remarkably powerful, and breathtakingly efficient. The earliest bird-like creature known to science is Archaeopteryx, which existed approximately 150 million years ago. This fascinating transitional fossil exhibited a unique blend of reptilian and avian features. It possessed distinct feathers, sharp teeth, claws on its wings, and a long, bony tail. In essence, one might playfully describe it as a small dinosaur, adorned with a feather boa, just beginning to experiment with the rudimentary principles of gliding. Intriguingly, feathers, which we now intimately associate with flight, did not originally evolve for that purpose. Their initial evolutionary purpose was likely insulation, providing warmth or perhaps for elaborate display purposes during courtship rituals, with bright colors playing a role in mating. However, once these versatile feathers were established, on the reptilian body, evolution in its endless ingenuity discovered entirely new and advantageous uses for them. Feathers, it was found, provided crucial lift, precise control, and vital stability in the air. Combine these remarkable adaptations with inherently lightweight bones, often hollow yet reinforced, an intricate system of air sacs to further reduce body mass and enhance respiration, and a muscular system precisely geared for high energy. Sustained flapping, and birds were well on their way to conquering the skies. What truly sets birds apart, making them unique among all flying creatures, is the profound and comprehensive way in which their entire bodies were dramatically reshaped and optimized by the relentless demands of flight. Their bones became pneumatic, hollow, yet incredibly strong and reinforced internally. Their breastbones developed a deep, prominent keel, providing an expansive, anchor-like surface for the attachment of their immensely powerful flight muscles. Their vision evolved to be exceptionally keen. Their brains intricately wired for precise coordination and rapid processing, and their respiratory systems developed into some of the most efficient and sophisticated in the entire animal kingdom, ensuring a continuous high-volume supply of oxygen during intense exertion. All of these synergistic adaptations allowed birds to successfully spread into nearly every conceivable corner of the globe. From the frigid, icy cliffs of Antarctica to the highest, most oxygen-deprived reaches of the majestic Himalayas. And then, finally, there were the bats, the intriguing latecomers to this grand aerial party. Bats first appeared on the evolutionary scene approximately 50 million years ago, long after birds had already firmly established their dominion over the skies. However, bats arrived with their own uniquely ingenious ideas about how to achieve flight. Unlike birds, whose wings are primarily modifications of their arms, bats, in a fascinating anatomical divergence, utilize their entire hand for flight. Their wings are formed by an incredibly thin, elastic membrane of skin, meticulously stretched over vastly elongated fingers, creating a highly flexible, remarkably responsive aerodynamic surface that allows for an astonishing degree of aerial agility. Bats hold the distinct honor of being the only mammals to evolve true, sustained, powered flight, and they perform this feat with an undeniable sense of flair and acrobatic prowess. Some species exhibit the astonishing ability to hover motionless, much like hummingbirds, while others execute breathtaking acrobatic twists and daring dives. And a select few even undertake incredibly long-distance migrations across continents. Their unparalleled success in the realm of flight lies not only in their unique wing design, but, crucially, in their mastery of echolocation, a sophisticated system of navigation that employs sound. Bats emit high-pitched calls, often inaudible to human ears, and then meticulously listen for the echoes that bounce off nearby insects, trees, and even other bats. This intricate biological sonar allows them to fly and hunt with remarkable precision in complete darkness. It is worth noting that not all bats rely on echolocation for navigation, nor do all species consume insects. Some species delicately sip nectar from flowers, others feast on fruit, and a very small, notorious few subsist on blood. However, All of them owe their undisputed aerial mastery to a unique and powerful combination of specialized biology and refined behavior. What is truly fascinating about this entire evolutionary narrative is the distinct and independent path each of these four flying lineages discovered and perfected. Insects opted for a strategy of small size and rapid movement, developing wings that miraculously never required bony support structures. Pterosaurs constructed immense sail-like wings, meticulously supported by a complex scaffolding of reinforced fingers. Birds underwent a radical transformation of their entire bodies, adapting them around the unparalleled efficiency of feathers and lightweight, hollow bones. And bats, in a brilliant act of biological innovation, transformed their very hands into highly flexible wings and augmented their aerial abilities with an incredibly precise sonar system to navigate the night sky. There exists, therefore, no singular predetermined blueprint for flight in nature. Instead, there is only a shared, powerful evolutionary goal, the desire to escape the confines of the ground, and a multitude of incredibly creative, diverse, and often breathtakingly ingenious ways to ultimately achieve it. Evolution, in its grand iterative process, was compelled to meticulously solve an extensive list of complex problems to make sustained flight work. How, for instance, does one achieve liftoff without being too heavy, thereby defying the constant pull of gravity? How does one gracefully land without incurring severe bone fractures or bodily damage? How does one precisely steer, effortlessly glide, and powerfully propel oneself through the air, utilizing muscles and energy systems that initially evolved for terrestrial locomotion, for crawling, swimming, or swimming on the ground? Each ingenious solution arrived with its own inherent trade-offs, its own set of compromises. Flight, by its very nature, demands an immense expenditure of energy, an exquisite degree of precision, and a highly refined level of neuromuscular control. But the potential payoff, the evolutionary reward, is undeniably immense. Unimpeded access to entirely new food sources, a significant reduction in predation pressure, dramatically faster travel over vast distances, and the unparalleled ability to explore and colonize expansive, previously inaccessible environments. Even more profoundly impressive is the realization that these complex adaptations did not miraculously appear all at once, in a single, instantaneous leap. Instead, they unfolded gradually, in tiny, often imperceptible steps over countless generations. Subtle changes in bone structure here, a slight increase in aerodynamic lift there, amid an improvement in the sense of balance over millions of years. These cumulative incremental changes added up, snowballing into the breathtaking aerial mastery we witness today. That, in its essence, is the true quiet magic of evolution. It does not need to invent entirely new concepts from scratch in every instance. Rather, it continuously tweaks, ingeniously repurposes, and subtly builds upon what is already present, already functional today. Flight, in all its diverse and spectacular forms, remains one of the most stunning and compelling feats in the entire tapestry of nature. From the agile, shimmering dance of a dragonfly as it skims the surface of a tranquil pond, to the majestic, silent circling of an eagle high above a towering mountain peak. From the rapid, darting maneuvers of a bat navigating through the moonlit night to the precise, almost miraculous hovering of a hummingbird at a fragile flower represents the culmination of millions upon millions of years of tireless experimentation, countless instances of evolutionary failure, and an endless cycle of meticulous refinement. And each one, in its own silent way, serves as a powerful reminder that nature, in its boundless capacity for innovation, truly never ceases to amaze. Flight, in its myriad forms, is more than just a biological mechanism. It is a profound testament to the sheer power of possibility. It is not merely about the presence of wings. It is, at a deeper level, about profound transformation. A slow, relentless, yet undeniably steady push from the humble act of crawling, to the elegant art of gliding, and finally, to the exhilarating mastery of soaring. And every single creature that has ever dared to take to the sky carries the silent, ancient story of that incredible journey etched within its very bones, woven into the intricate structure of its feathers, contained within the delicate membranes of its wings, and pulsating with every beat of its powerful heart. The skies of tomorrow, while perhaps not appearing precisely as they do in the most fantastical visions of science fiction films, are undeniably and inexorably moving towards a significant technological upgrade, after more than a century dominated by the roaring power of jet engines, the sleek precision of aluminum wings, and the thunderous vibrations of rumbling runways. Flight is now poised on the precipice of entering an entirely new and transformative era. This nascent age promises to be characterized by innovation that is inherently cleaner, remarkably quieter, and, in many profound ways, far more vertical in its approach. From the quiet hum of battery-powered planes gracefully soaring through the air to the radical concept of airborne taxis seamlessly ferrying passengers across urban landscapes. From the autonomous precision of advanced drones to the astonishing spectacle of rockets gracefully landing on their tails as if it were simply another unremarkable Tuesday. The future of flight is slowly but surely unfolding before our very eyes. It is a future characterized by an exquisite blend of bold ambition, audacious imagination, and meticulously thoughtful engineering. Let us commence our exploration with the burgeoning field of electric aviation. For a considerable number of years, electric cars have progressively, albeit sometimes subtly, transformed our roads, gradually becoming a more prevalent and accepted mode of ground transportation. Now, following in their quieter, more sustainable footsteps, aircraft are beginning to embrace this electrifying revolution. The fundamental concept underpinning electric flight is elegantly simple: replace traditional combustion engines, with their reliance on fossil fuels, with clean, efficient electric motors, and in turn, swap conventional jet fuel for sophisticated, high-energy density batteries. On paper, this sounds profoundly elegant and undeniably appealing in vision: a world with no direct emissions, significantly reduced noise pollution, and far fewer complex moving parts requiring constant maintenance. However, the practical reality of bringing this vision to fruition remains, for the moment, a little more grounded in current technological limitations. The primary hurdle, the single most significant impediment to widespread electric aviation, is not the electric motors themselves, which are remarkably efficient and powerful for their size. Rather, it is the batteries. Airplanes, by their very nature, demand to be exceptionally lightweight to achieve efficient flight. And the lithium-ion batteries available today, despite their advancements, are still considerably heavier than an equivalent amount of jet fuel when compared on an energy-to-weight ratio. That being said, it is crucial to recognize that remarkable progress is continuously being made in battery technology. Several small experimental electric aircraft have already successfully taken to the skies, typically designed to carry only 1 or 2 passengers. These early electric planes are primarily utilized for pilot training, short intercity hops, or as compelling demonstration flights, unequivocally proving that the underlying technology is indeed viable and functional, even if it is not yet fully ready for the demands of long-haul commercial use. Companies across the globe are making substantial investments, channeling immense resources into diligently improving battery energy density, the amount of energy that can be stored per unit of weight. Furthermore, some cutting-edge designs are actively experimenting with innovative hybrid systems that ingeniously combine the benefits of electric motors with small, highly efficient fuel-burning generators, serving as a reliable backup power source. Electric propulsion offers a suite of unique and compelling benefits. It is inherently quieter, a characteristic that could dramatically reduce noise pollution around bustling cities and congested airports, thereby improving the quality of life for millions. It is also, from a mechanical standpoint, significantly simpler. An electric motor contains far fewer moving parts compared to a traditional internal combustion engine, which translates directly into easier, less frequent maintenance and, crucially, the potential for significantly lower operational costs for regional flights, short-range travel, and even urban air mobility. Electric planes might one day become the widely accepted norm, particularly as the supporting charging infrastructure dramatically improves and as green, renewable energy sources become more prevalent and accessible globally. Then there is the long-cherished dream of vertical flight, an aspiration that bypasses the need for runways entirely. Helicopters have already provided us with a tantalizing glimpse of what it is like to effortlessly skip the ground-bound runway and ascend directly, vertically, into the sky. However, a revolutionary new class of vehicles is now rapidly emerging: electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, more commonly and casually known as eVTOLs. These futuristic-looking machines, with their sleek, often aerodynamic bodies, multiple rotors, and sometimes resemblance to large drones or tiny flying buses, are driven by an audacious mission to fundamentally transform how we navigate and move through our bustling cities. The core idea behind VTOS is to create a network of flying taxis, quiet, remarkably efficient, and potentially pilot-optional vehicles that possess the capability to transport a handful of passengers from one rooftop to another, thereby completely bypassing the soul-crushing congestion of ground traffic and dramatically reducing arduous commute times. Dozens of innovative companies are actively engaged in developing prototypes, and several have already successfully conducted initial test flights, proving the feasibility of their concepts. The majority of eVTO designs employ distributed electric propulsion, which fundamentally means they utilize several small, independent rotors instead of a single large one. This design choice significantly improves safety, as the failure of one motor can often be compensated for by the others, and it also contributes to a smoother, more stable ride. These groundbreaking vehicles promise to be considerably quieter than traditional helicopters, significantly more energy efficient, and potentially much cheaper to operate once the technology matures and scales. Still, formidable challenges persist. Issues such as battery weight, achievable flight range, complex safety certification processes, the daunting task of air traffic management in crowded urban skies, and, crucially, earning widespread public trust, all must be meticulously addressed and solved before sky taxis become an integral, commonplace part of daily life. While it may not be 5 years away, it is certainly no longer a distant, unattainable dream either. Limited trials and initial services could realistically become a tangible reality in certain forward-thinking cities within the next decade. Autonomous drones represent yet another critical piece of the complex puzzle that is the future of flight. While many people currently associate drones primarily with camera-equipped quadcopters buzzing leisurely over parks and festivals, their transformative potential extends far beyond mere aerial photography. Delivery drones, for a compelling example, possess the capacity to revolutionize logistics, bringing vital medicine, fresh groceries, or small packages directly to your doorstep, particularly in remote, difficult-to-reach areas or during emergencies. Some such systems are already undergoing testing in rural regions and within hospital networks, where speed of delivery often matters more than sheer volume. Drones are also increasingly being deployed in agriculture to efficiently survey vast crop fields, in critical environmental research to meticulously monitor wildlife populations and ecosystems, and in rapid emergency response scenarios to quickly assess damage after devastating natural disasters. As artificial intelligence continues its rapid advancements and as regulatory frameworks evolve to effectively manage these new technologies, drones could swiftly become indispensable tools across a multitude of industries that we have not even yet begun to fully imagine. Even after all this vast expanse of time, after centuries of scientific inquiry and technological advancement, we, as a species, are still profoundly compelled to look up. We still, almost instinctively, pause for a quiet moment at the sudden sound of wings gracefully passing overhead. We still crane our necks, eyes tracing the silent, silver arc of a distant airplane, a tiny speck against the vastness. We still, with a sense of quiet awe, marvel at the almost ethereal hush of a bird effortlessly gliding on a gentle breeze. Flight, in its myriad forms, continues to captivate our collective imagination. Not because we have definitively mastered every single nuance of it, but precisely because it continually beautifully reminds us of how truly boundless the sky is. And, perhaps more humbling, how much we have yet to genuinely comprehend. From the very first, tentative flapping movements of ancient, primordial insects to the thunderous, awe-inspiring roar of modern rocket engines piercing the highest reaches of the stratosphere. Flight has always transcended its utilitarian function as merely a way to traverse from one geographical point to another. It has, in a much deeper sense, always been a powerful symbol. A cherished dream, a quiet, almost inaudible yearning deeply etched into the very fabric of our collective imaginations. Children, in their innocent play, instinctively stretch their arms out wide, imagining them as wings ready to take flight. Artists, inspired by the boundless heavens, meticulously paint canvases filled with graceful birds, distant, shimmering stars, and magnificent machines that audaciously climb towards the celestial realms. Pilots, those privileged few who routinely experience the boundless expanse above, often speak of being up there as something almost sacred, a profound solitude, a deep, pervasive serenity, a unique sense of perspective that is utterly unattainable from the ground. The sky, after all, does not belong exclusively to any single creature, nor is it the sole dominion of any one country. It has been shared across the vast stretches of time by the agile dragonflies and the swift darting swifts, by the ancients, feathered dinosaurs and the immense synchronized flocks of migrating geese, by the silent, graceful gliders and the intrepid astronauts, and perhaps, one day in the not-too-distant future, by countless travelers embarking on weekend journeys to distant orbits. It is an open, infinite expanse, and one that remains profoundly humbling, perpetually inviting us to imagine what else, what more, might truly be possible within its boundless embrace. We embark upon the profound journey of flight because, at our core, we are inherently curious about what lies beyond our immediate grasp. Curious about the intricate mechanics of how things truly work. Curious about the ultimate limits of how far we can genuinely go. But we also fly in a more subtle and profound sense, because it draws us closer to something we find difficult, if not impossible, to articulate, to truly name. Perhaps it is the profound sense of freedom that comes with defying gravity, or the expansive perspective gained from seeing our world from above. Or perhaps it is simply the strange, pervasive, and deeply still thrill of existing, for a brief, magical moment, suspended between the familiar earth and the glittering, distant stars. Flight is not merely a colossal technological feat, a testament to human ingenuity in engineering. It is, more deeply, a profound human one. It necessitated centuries of relentless trial and error, countless scribbled notebooks filled with nascent ideas, meticulous wind tunnel experiments, audacious leaps of unwavering faith, and incredibly precise, painstaking calculations. It demanded generations of people diligently observing the graceful flight of birds, meticulously sketching their conceptual designs, constructing often odd and precarious machines, and courageously running into the wind with nothing more than raw hope and humble canvas. It required an unshakable belief in the possible, quiet, persistent conviction that maybe, just maybe, we too, despite our earthbound nature, could one day rise. And rise, undeniably, we did. We have, in our relentless pursuit of the skies, floated serenely in vast, colorful balloons, soared with incredible speed in powerful jet aircraft, hovered with astonishing precision in complex helicopters, and experienced the profound weightlessness of tumbling freely in distant orbit. We have transported precious cameras to capture breathtaking vistas, sensitive telescopes to peer into the farthest reaches of the cosmos, vital supplies to distant outposts, and, most importantly, our boundless dreams into the vastness of the sky. We have strategically dropped seeds of progress, delivered crucial humanitarian aid to those in dire need, meticulously mapped the ancient, retreating glaciers of our planet, and gazed down in quiet awe upon the very clouds that we once could only imagine from below. Every single flight, in its own unique and powerful way, narrates a compelling story of relentless problem-solving, unwavering persistence, of courageously reaching out, and of steadfastly refusing to allow gravity, that ubiquitous force, to have the very final word. Even now, as the act of flight becomes progressively more familiar, more ingrained, and indeed more routine in our daily lives, it has, miraculously, never truly lost its fundamental magic. Consider a quiet, early morning flight, the rising sun painting the clouds. Imagine the anticipation surrounding the first successful launch of a new, groundbreaking rocket. Or simply observe a tiny hummingbird, its wings a blur, hovering effortlessly at your window. And then there is the sheer, almost improbable, reality of something heavier than air. A colossal machine of metal and circuits, gracefully rising from a runway, its engines a distant hum, and vanishing into the boundless, inviting sky. These are moments that, in their profound simplicity, require no elaborate explanation. They simply and powerfully invite us to experience the raw, unadulterated sensation of wonder. And so, here at the very culmination of our prolonged, yet gentle, journey through the captivating science of flight, journey that has taken us from the elegant simplicity of birds to the immense power of rockets, from the graceful, intricate flapping of wings to the revolutionary concept of reusable boosters, we quietly, almost serenely, return to where we first began, to the simple, yet profound act of looking up. Where are you choosing to experience this moment tonight? And what time is it exactly in your particular part of the world? Are you nestled beneath a midnight sky, a canvas abundantly filled with countless shimmering stars? Or is it the soft, promising light of early morning, accompanied by the gentle, almost imperceptible sounds of birds just beginning to stir from their slumber? Perhaps you are simply winding down from the demands of a busy day, or perhaps you are comfortably lying in your bed, allowing your thoughts to gently drift upward, much like a single leaf caught and carried effortlessly by a soft, unseen breeze. Wherever you find yourself, whatever the hour may be, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for choosing to spend this precious time here with me, exploring the boundless wonders of the universe. If you genuinely found comfort and inspiration in this quiet, introspective journey through the skies and the cosmos, I would be immensely grateful if you would consider leaving a gentle like, or even quietly subscribing to The Sleepy Scientist for more peaceful explorations and profound ponderings like this one. I always cherish hearing from each of you, so please do let me know in the comments section where you are listening from and what time it is, as your eyelids begin to gently close, inviting slumber. And if you find yourself still awake, still gently drifting on the edges of consciousness, I sincerely hope that the boundless wonder of fly-tit's rich history, its intricate science, its undeniable beauty has left a soft, comforting imprint upon the canvas of your imagination. Whether your dreams tonight carry you through the ethereal experience of gliding effortlessly through soft, white clouds, or soaring majestically over vast, shimmering oceans, or perhaps simply watching the horizon gracefully tilt as unseen wings. Catch the unseen wind. May your sleep tonight carry you somewhere light, boundless, and infinitely peaceful. As always, this video is created purely for entertainment and relaxation purposes only, and is not, in any way, intended to provide any form of medical advice. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep looking up.